Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? How was your Thanksgiving? If anybody in here is American, well, I know some of you are. How was your Thanksgiving? Hello, Anne. Hello, Krista. Hello, Marie Curie. Deanna, nice to see you again in here, Deanna. How was everybody's Thanksgiving? Did you have a good Thanksgiving? We had ours. We always have ours in October. So different. So different. Was everybody? It was fine, says Krista. Just another day. Just another day. It was fine. Well, I gotta say, I'm grateful for all of you. I didn't end up going live last night because yeah, yours truly just missed my dad so much I cried all day yesterday, truthfully. So yeah, but I'm grateful to have all of you. Truly thought a lot about my gratitude yesterday, and working like crazy all well around here. Thanksgiving was busy working like crazy. Oh no. Okay, well listen, let's get into it. I want you to know what I'm going to do. We're going to do Jack and Lily. I said I was getting back into Sebastian, which I am. But I figured with the holidays right now, with everybody being mainly American following Sebastian, wasn't probably a good time. Let's just let the holidays settle. Snowing a bit colder, 6 inches. I didn't do anything snowing. Pink Butterfly says bitter cold, 6 inches. Oh, no, I know. It's so cold too. I'm not ready for winter, but hey, we get what we get. It's been snowing where I live every night. Thank you, honey. Thanks, Anne. It's okay. It's just one of those days. We're still in the retrograde, right? And I went to visit my daughter, and everybody's anxious in my family because of the financial stress for everything that's happened, and it's just getting very dire. For my daughter has been working overtime, so carrying the debt to pay me for my way now. So it's just getting very dire. Everybody's very stressed out. It's Christmas, and my younger daughter and I just had a little bit of a disagreement, which is totally normal, but I couldn't stop crying. I literally cried all day. I couldn't stop crying. So yeah, so you guys help keep me going. So let's get into Jack and Lily, because it's not about me, it's about them. And but yeah, so sometimes when I cancel or I don't show up, it's often, I got my own stuff going on. And so yeah, lots of winter stuff here. Yeah, we're supposed to get a major snowstorm coming up. It's okay, sweetie. It's okay. You listen. Hey, Kitty, how are you? You all have stuff too. We all have stuff in life, right? We all got stuff. So let's get into Jack and Lily. But I want you to know I also started researching trafficking rings. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to do a big trafficking ring investigation. And wow, if you're Canadian, it's incredibly scary. It's incredibly scary. 5 incoming here. Thanks, sweetie. Does that mean that was your like button? So we're going to do trafficking rings tomorrow. We're going to do an update on Jack and Lily. We've got a little bit of an update on Melody Buzzard and Gus Lamont as well. Hey, Barb, sweetie. I'm doing okay. But yeah, tomorrow, how are you doing? We're going to do an update today on Jack and Lily. We're also going to go through a little bit of an update on Gus Lamont and Anna Kepner, because there's really nothing new about Melody Buzzard. And I am so wondering. Yeah, so we're going to do that tomorrow morning. So it's scary, and it's scary. Thank you, Pink Butterfly. Yeah, everybody, there's 22 of you here. Please do the thumbs up, the likey things. So we're going to get into it right now. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you, Bonnie. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you, Snowfeather, honey. Thank you. Appreciate it. I understand. I've been there too. After that C thing, my body is weaker. Yeah. I'm just, yeah, it's all good. It's just life. Life is hard sometimes. It's just, y'all get it. Life ain't easy for any of us. So done being the victim, but there's days. Thank you, Anne. There's days where you're going to have your days your days where you're just not feeling great. And that was one of mine yesterday. So that's okay. That's okay. So let's get into it. And then, like I said, tomorrow we're going to do the trafficking ring stuff. And it is scary on about how much it exists in Canada. I never would have thought of Canada as a trafficking ring. Sorry, trying to fix my hat. I know somebody said, Liane, don't cover your beautiful hair, but some days it's what I want to do. So anyway, so we're going to go into it. And then not only that, I saw a homeless person yesterday in a tent in our city, in our capital at Ottawa, as I was leaving to go to my daughter's. And that is so sad. And thank you, Marie. Thank you for being here. So my oldest daughter came to pick up my grandson, and I was in my can't stop crying, not having a fit, just couldn't keep could not stop crying all day. And she was telling me that in our capital here, in our capital city, I'm just across the border in Quebec now, because she's a nurse at CHEO, regrettably, they see a lot of this. And child trafficking is seriously a problem in our capital, which I had no idea. I didn't know. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. But between now and then, let's just do Jack and Lily and the updates on Anna Kepner. That case is getting wild. That case is wild. Are we going to see an arrest soon? Is the question. Are we going to see arrests soon? If so, everybody in here, I hope you know Anna Kepner. Anna Kepner is the young 18-year-old who sounds like didn't turn 18 very long ago, was found deceased in her cabin a couple of weeks ago on the Carnival cruise ship, and was stuffed under the bed, wearing we don't know whether she was naked or wearing her pajamas, but she was covered in life jacket preservers. And she was found the day after. And we have been following this case because it's utterly sad given the family's background. So yeah, I don't know what you mean by that, Barb, but I'm just saying my daughter has knowledge of it going on in our city because of where she works. So she can't tell me any more than that because she's got confidentiality issues. So I don't really know. And nor would I want her to ever breach those. But I don't really know any more details than that, other than just that it's not really as clean in Canada when it comes to this as we would expect. So let's listen to this first. So these are the new rulings and details that have come out on the case, which is interesting because you may or may not know or remember that we only know about this family's really not great background because of the custody battle going on. So the stepmom and the biological dad and the grandparents were 9 of them on this new family, 1-year-old new blended family, that we're going to start this cruising thing as a family tradition, apparently, when Anna Kepner regrettably died and lost her life on the cruise. But this bio mom, or stepmother rather, and the bio dad who were on the cruise, haven't really said much. And the only reason we know about the details of this family is because the stepmom is fighting for custody over the 16-year-old that's the alleged suspect to have killed his stepsister, Anna, in her cabin. That his mother, the 16-year-old his mother, is trying to keep the court quiet about their custody battle. And the judge said no. Listen to this.
Details tonight in the Anna Kepner case. The judge's ruling could help us uncover more information about how she died.
Anna's stepmother had asked a judge to block media access and prevent family members from talking about the case. Fox 35's Stephanie Buff-Monty joins us live in studio tonight with that story. So, Steph, the judge said no.
Yes, this hearing is a custody battle between Anna's stepmom and her ex-husband. But if Anna's father is forced to testify, we could potentially learn more about what happened on the ship where Anna was allegedly murdered. Now, those are the answers that her mother's side of the family have been searching for. I spoke with her aunt for the first time tonight, who feels like she's been left in the dark.
It's a constant like mind game. It just wondering all day, constantly getting online, looking to see if anything's news come to light.
Crystal Wright is Anna Kepner's aunt on her mom's side. While she says she didn't see Anna much growing up because of family issues between her sister, Anna's biological mom, and Anna's father, Crystal says she and her niece spoke on the phone, and her daughter stayed in touch too.
She was a very outgoing person. She always had a great outlook on no matter what the situation was. She always turned it was no matter what it was going to be good.
The teen was found dead earlier this month while on a family vacation with her dad, stepmom, and siblings. Anna's 16-year-old stepbrother has been named a suspect in her death. Her death certificate does not list how she died, but other court documents show the FBI is investigating her death as a murder. Her aunt says Anna's father told her she was rooming with her stepbrother on that ship.
He just said that the kids had a room. The older kids had a room together.
This document filed in Brevard County Court says Anna's dad, Christopher Kepner, has to attend the hearing in the custody battle between Anna's stepmom and her ex. Anna's stepmom asked a judge to seal the case and ban the public and the media from
Look at how
attending.
young this
But
woman
on
looks.
Wednesday, a judge
Look
denied
how
that.
young.
Now,
okay, that was the stepmother. Look at her. I remember seeing it. I remember seeing her and thinking, oh my God, like how old is she? She looks not any older than the kids that she's the stepmother to. Like they're 18 years old. How old does this woman look? 20s, in her 20s? She is much younger and not much older than these kids than she should look. And then we find out, which we covered on the last live, that dad has a habit of marrying women who he dated when they were teenagers and then marrying them when they turn 18. I mean, it's just this family is so vile. It really, and I know some of you may not agree or know the history, but when we were listening to Sebastian Rogers, and we listened the last time we listened to Sebastian, we were listening to CP, the stepdad, and his yelling and swearing and cursing. And in the background there, KP was talking about how she was so upset that the PI, which I don't blame her for, truthfully, divulged her personal background. Her personal background being Sebastian's mother was SA'd, was sexually, SA'd. And by her mother is a registered SA and went to jail for it. And it sounds very similar in that KP's way of escaping that was to join the Navy. And we hear Anna Kepner was ready to join the Navy. And that is a sad statement. But when you've got a family like this and you just want to get out of there, that's kind of a smart way to go because you can get your career lined up. You can have university paid for. She was very mature. She was very motivated and she was, inspiring apparently. And these nimbuciles, I mean, these parents, we're going to watch it in a minute. There's some investigations, police that are saying the parents should be looked at for charges, and that there is no doubt that the FBI are likely looking at the parents to see if they can charge them.
But on Wednesday, a judge denied that. Now, Anna's family on her mom's side is hoping they can finally learn more about her death.
They're really quiet. They don't say anything. My sister can't even get any information from them. We don't understand why, if the boy is a suspect, why has he not been charged yet? What's happening there?
Now, that family court hearing is on December 5th, which is next Friday. Live in the studio, Stephanie Buffmonte, Fox 35 News.
Thanks, Stephanie. And our
So let's watch this one. I can't remember which one I pulled up because I did get it going a couple days ago. But Yeah, this is an interesting one too. So let's watch this one. This is Hidden Killers. It's a crime podcast. And
welcome to the Hidden Killers YouTube channel.
This is Hidden.
Let's just get them up here. So yeah, what do y'all think about this? I mean, are we going to see arrests soon? This is really an interesting take. We're going to watch this, and then we'll get into Gus Lamont updates and Jack and Lily.
Killers with Tony Bruschi. Here now, Tony Bruschi.
We are talking with Robin Drake, retired FBI special agent and chief of the Counterintelligence Behavioral Analysis Program, about Anna Kempner and the cruise now homicide, as it is being labeled, on the Carnival Horizon. This just recently took place. Anna Kempner, 18, 16-year-old step sibling sharing a room. The accusation or the suspicion is right now, because he is a suspect as of this recording, that something happened there. Her cause of death has been labeled a form of asphyxiation, basically the neck type hold where you cut off the carotid artery and you do it long enough and you kill somebody. And that's what they're saying.
I mean, that's the other part of this that's so sick, and we've heard this before, is for her to pass away in the method with this neck hold that they're talking about, she would have had to pass out first. And he would have had to keep going to kill her. I mean, this was clearly his intention. He had more than one opportunity, as we're going to hear shortly, to stop this and to change his mind. And he chose to keep going and to make sure she never breathed again. And I hope he's tried as an adult. It's just wild.
Robin, when we tend to think about all of this in adult terms, if you hide a body, you must have murdered someone. You know, that's not always the case, but some people are. There's other cases right now we're watching where
I know.
Brian Walsh is trying to argue that right now. The David cases. Right. We don't know what's going on there. But from a behavioral perspective, how different is a 16-year-old's decision making compared to an adult in a moment like this, especially when it comes to that split second? What do I do? And panic setting in. Versus, oh my God, she's passed out. She's not breathing. I should call 911.
Much less rational with a youth and adolescent before the prefrontal lobes fully form. So anyone basically under the age of 22 to 24 is going to act pretty goofy, and like that. And believe it or not, you know me, I looked up the stat. So here is actually the number that. Because again, it doesn't make sense. Because like, if this was a mistake, our logical adult brain says, well, hey, if an accident happened, the first thing you want to do is pick up the phone, call 911, and get the local people on the boat there to come help and assist. But also, Jennifer Coffindeffer with you earlier said this is a really good point too. She would have passed out long before she died, and the fact that he held that choke long enough to not just let her pass out but die, that was pretty traumatic. That was a lot of rage being funneled in there. So that's part of it. But the stats on this. 16-year-olds, roughly 60 to 70% of the time, they're going to do that kind of reaction. They're going to try to hide the body. They're not going to report it. They're not going to try to pretend it wasn't them. They're not going to say it was an accident. 60 to 70% is what the recent stats are showing on that. So that's more common than you think.
God, I mean, I can see that's a scary one when it comes to like a body. Like, I get it. Like I scratched your car or something when I took it out to Burger King or and that sort of thing. But the concealing a body, that's I would think that would be a little more. I'm not screwing around with this.
How many times do we cover so much that every single moron that we cover on this, and everyone we've covered is a moron. Everyone doesn't matter the IQ at all. Zero EQ, zero emotional intelligence, and even less so the younger you get. And that is their ability to problem solve and maintain emotional regulation. Zero, absolutely bottomed out. And that's why I thought Bob Mott, I know, said it with you too. There's a damn good thing there wasn't a window.
Yes. Yes. So he's saying, it's very common, and particularly at this age, to act, in ways that look irrationally. But yeah, what if there was a window? What if they were in a, well, you can't open the windows. They'd have to have been on a balcony room, because the ones with windows you still can't open. But the balcony, had they been on a balcony one, yeah, we probably wouldn't even know. He likely would have thrown her overboard, right?
Yeah.
That body would have been stuffed through it. And right in the ocean. I guarantee.
A window or right off the balcony. And
Yep,
there's cameras
right
there
there.
too, but at a
Don't matter.
16-year-old thinking,
They're not thinking cameras.
No.
He's thinking right in front of his nose. You know, the interesting thing.
And this guy's a retired special agent, and notice how he has Marine Corps in the background. So he's a retired FBI agent, and that's exactly who's investigating this case. I think he's incredibly credible as a person up here talking.
Too, you know, if you dive deeper on the behavior here, is I was just thinking about my own kids and how my kids solve problems. You know, we never see the world as a bad day or a good day. The day is just a day. It presents us challenges to work through. And so that's how a healthy brain and healthy family dynamic does things. Hey, if something happens, we come together, we work the problem, and we do what we can to resolve the issue and challenge that we're facing. And so what we have in here is not just the 60 or 70% of people doing this, but why did he do it?
Yeah.
Fear. He feared reciprocity first, not just from law enforcement or anything like that. He feared it because of the family. So there's a family dynamic going on there that's cascading on top of this.
Well, good, Krista, because it's 27 minutes long and we're only 4 minutes in. So let's listen.
Of fear. Now, granted, is that unusual or not unusual for a teenager to do that? No, they said the stats are really high that the first thing they do is try to hide the body because of fear. But I can't imagine that in my family or your family ever happening like this, because it couldn't. Because it was like, hey, it's a really bad, stupid thing, man, but we're going to work the problem.
I mean, the dynamics of this family, without going into all of the details, I think very easy to sum up. Springer. If you ever watch Springer, this is that. This would easily fit onto that show.
And to that, I'm sorry, Tony, because I really want to bring that point up because I just kind of arc into it. I apologize.
Yeah.
When this first broke and I first saw the initial statements coming out, you know, it's a lot of times they'll ask, you know, what was your first impression? My first impression, it was family. We got issues. And here's why. The first thing I heard was, I'm paraphrasing what I heard, this is what my brain absorbed, was that the daughter was sick at dinner the night before, went to bed early, and the parents then didn't see her again. She wasn't at breakfast and then didn't see her again or think anything of looking for her until around coming up on lunchtime. That opening statement to me said, because when you hear of missing person, I think how my brain first works is, am I going to look outside family or inside the family? First thing I said, all right, we got to look inside the family. And it's not because anything's wrong, that they're right and wrong. What they did was the behavior was a little incongruent with what.
Well, this is it. Like, okay, so she was in that cabin with the stepbrother and her biological brother. Her biological brother goes to bed that night and doesn't see her. And he shows up for breakfast the next morning. He wakes up. She's not in the cabin. He shows up for breakfast the next morning, and they don't wonder where she is until noon. Until noon. What the fuck kind of, sorry, but what the effing kind of people are these people? She didn't go to bed in her room because she was, according to the bio brother, because she was stuffed under the bed. He couldn't see her. And they don't figure it's necessary to report her missing until noon. That is wild to me. Like, what did they think? Where did they think she was? Were they trying to text her? Like, yeah. So the whole story with the grandparents and everything now. Yeah, no, I get exactly. You know, it's un-effing believable. Truthfully, it makes it sound like they were trying to conceal this behind the scenes from the get-go. And so when these grandparents come out and say, and they were there on the cruise, the whole thing sounds like a bunch of BS to me.
Parents would typically do, again, this is just typical. There's outliers all over the place. This is not to judge the way people are raising their family, not family, especially on a cruise, vacation, all that. But when someone says they're sick, again, this is only just what was reported. When a child says they were sick, they go to bed early. You don't check on them. There's other kids in the room that also didn't report anything, not checking in with the parents. And no one's at breakfast this morning saying someone's missing or not knowing where she is. And so, see what I mean? There's a lot of gap of time that there was not a lot of families. Again, we're talking law of averages, have guardrails.
Yeah.
And the first thing I'm hearing is zero guardrails.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can see it.
Like no red flag warnings. Like they just don't have any of this in their mindset. Because I don't know. They're just highly dysfunctional.
An argument on the other side for not being super concerned. She's 18.
Yep, I
she
get
wasn't feeling great, and she, and who knows what the parents were told at breakfast by the ones who did come up. You know, oh, she's sleeping it off. Who knows? And that will, if they said anything, which we don't know the answer.
Well, that doesn't make sense if the bio brother isn't involved. Yeah, I mean, the bio brother heard fighting going on the night before this, and he goes to the cabin. She's not in bed. That doesn't line up. I don't think there's any justification that the bio brother, and I'm just starting to wonder if the bio brother knows more than he's saying. Was he in the cabin when this went down? I don't know. I don't know, but I find it extremely odd. This is, to me, one of the most disturbing pieces, is that the bio brother doesn't announce she's missing.
To that will certainly play into it, especially if they make a statement like she was sleeping or something and she's literally under the bed. That would be different. I could see that, and it's probably a regular pattern of their dynamic of probably very loose communication. Is it super healthy? Is it the way I would do it or you would do it? No, I can see, but I can understand why there's that loose, because it's probably, again, this is all conjecture, probably just how they communicate, good, bad, ugly, whatever it may be.
100%.
But there's, it's
a deviation of an arc of what you'd expect.
But this family, if you look from what we do know, they're like this. It's like, it's everywhere.
And that's why I'm looking there.
Yes, and that's the thing. I mean, and if somebody wants to get into all the details of things that we've learned about this family, we have videos about it. I mean, just the mom alone who was not on the trip, her mother, the birth mother, oh my God, I broke down her hour or 13-minute rant about herself.
Yeah.
There's a video of that. And the allegations that were made way back when Anna was like, 4 years old or something, or even younger. The dad ends up marrying allegedly an 18-year-old that allegedly was the babysitter prior, and allegedly there was a filing that was dismissed about it.
So if you don't know, he's recapping here right now. Anna Kepner's bio dad, her own biological father, refused to allow her to see the bio mom, the one with the red hair we heard from. He marries another woman who had 2 kids. They'd split. She basically raised Anna. And now this new wife in this new relationship, but the woman that raised Anna that he married when she was 18, he started dating her when she was 15 and the babysitter. This is her biological father. Her stepmother is the son, the child's, who's accused of jumping on her in front of the boyfriend months earlier, who the ex-boyfriend of Anna said he told these parents about. And he's the one accused. So we got both families from the father's side and the mother's side that are dysfunctional, disgusting people. Both sides. Bio dads and stepmoms. And stepmom doesn't look much older than the kids. So make sense. I'd like to know how old this woman is. Did he start dating her when she was a teenager too? Was he grooming his stepson to behave like this? Or was the bio child also part of this? Because the bio brother not coming forward the morning of the breakfast to say she's not in bed, and I didn't see her in bed last night, as per his own reporting, as per what we've covered, his own reporting. He didn't see her that night in bed. But you didn't report it the next morning at breakfast is so beyond the pale suspicious to me.
Inappropriate relationship between the father and a minor. We don't know if the minor is the one who turned into 18 and became his new wife. That's what a lot of people are assuming right now. We can't confirm that, but we have seen the actual filing. I've gone and gotten that. The filing exists, but it was dismissed. No charges were ever filed.
Okay, so there was a sexual harassment filing by one of the moms, whether it's the current mom or the one prior. There was a sexual filing until he married that person when she turned 18. That lawsuit was dropped. Go figure. That's how dysfunctional this family is.
There. So not in any way saying he's doing anything with kids, but obviously somebody felt uncomfortable enough to make this filing, and then he marries the 18-year-old. It looks a little weird. And that's normalized. And that's normalized essentially then for the rest of her upbringing. And then the 18-year-old becomes the mom that apparently she was a good mom, according to the strung out mom.
Well, that's why I think it's mom too, because this mom's only been there a year, and she said that this woman raised Anna. So presumably this is wife 2, and we're looking at wife 3 now, who doesn't look much older than 18 herself.
Allegedly. I mean, this is why I'm saying this is like Springer.
Jerry
And then there's a
Springer,
ton
for
of
sure.
allegations against the dad. Again, I mean, it's mudslinging left and right. Who knows what is exactly true? All we can do is based on what we've actually seen, like those filings and such. But again, just the chaos. That's the point, is the chaos. There's so goddamn much chaos here that was normalized around this girl by 18. It's amazing that she was on, from what we understand, the bright path that she was on to escape this family and get on with her life and go do good things. She had very bright plans ahead of her, seemed to be very determined, was about to join the military, was about to embark away from Camp Chaos here. But unfortunately, Camp Chaos burned down first. It's very sad, but these are the dynamics that she was around. When it comes to, obviously, they're going to be questioning the family. They're going to want to know what was going on. They're going to want to know if there's any sort of motivation here, any signs that something was going on with the 16-year-old towards the 18-year-old Anna. And this makes it a very interesting dynamic, because they all have a self-interest. I mean, for the most part, I would think, to not talk, to not incriminate the 16-year-old, even though something might have happened. And most families are going to try and protect their own, even when there was violence against another one of their own. What kind of a challenge does that present to investigators when they're trying to better understand the dynamics of what went on here?
Yeah. As an investigator, I'm going to be obviously talking to all these people, but realizing that what you're getting is going to be a lot of chaos coming out of their mouths for a while as well. I'll tell you, the most interesting thing is going to be their cell phone data. I think there's going to be a lot of, if we thought we saw chaos and creepy now, I think as they start digging into the cell phone data for all these people involved, you're going to get a much clearer picture on what was going on there. Home computer, cell phone, and just sit back and watch that show, because from the first moment that I saw the smoke by that first statement, nothing to surprise me, because it's fitting a pattern that we've sadly seen before. I think it's going to get potentially darker than we've seen already, and I think it's not going to come from any of their statements. I think right now, I mean, each individual, like you said, is probably in their own personal survival mode. I think the grandparent, again, pure conjecture, grandparents, if they aren't completely connected, are trying to figure out the chaos, because they probably presented a great 5-second highlight reel to the grandparents, and meanwhile hiding the super ugly dysfunctional chaos going on behind the scenes. I would not be surprised whatever is uncovered, because I think there's a lot there.
I mean, what is it going to mean here if we find out that there was warnings to whoever made the choice of who's staying in what cabin? I'm assuming the parental figures who paid for the cabin. I'm assuming somebody made the choice of who's staying in what cabin. I don't know who that is, but if it is someone that had knowledge, whoever that may be, if they had knowledge that there was an uncomfortableness, a threat, a whatever it may be between Anna and the 16-year-old, and that was ignored, and the parents or whoever, again, I don't know who it is, decided, well, we're still having y'all bunk together, that could mean a lot. The grandparents had said in an interview that, and I found this to be interesting, they had said in that interview that, well, we said to the kids, if there's any problems, any blah, 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 you can always come to our room. I thought there was an interesting thing that was brought up, of if there's any things that the door was open, basically, that you can come to our room and everything is all good and you'll be fine.
They had to say that.
That was an interesting thing to say, and that also made me wonder a little bit about did they book the rooms but did not have knowledge, because I could see that I could see a situation in which the rooms were booked by grandma and grandpa. Pure speculation here. They have no idea there's anything going on here between the 16-year-old and the 18-year-old. Any sort of issues. And mom and dad also don't want to tell grandma and grandpa that there are, so they're just telling the kids to suck it up and deal with it.
Well, what do you think of that theory? I mean, well, this is just it, Marie Curie. I mean, the boy had psychological book therapy appointments. So even if his theory is correct, we're going to let Robin, the FBI expert, answer this. But I think Tony is doing an amazing job of trying to hand them some olive branches here. But I I think even if the grandparents did pay for this and they said to the kids, and if anything goes wrong, let us know. That's the parents' obligation to come in at that time and say, no, these kids cannot be left alone in their own cabin. That's their responsibility. So and so, the 16-year-old's got some psychological issues. This is the parent's job at this time, to protect the daughter at all costs, not to hide behind illusions.
I could see a scenario like that where the placement of the people is innocent. But I can also see a scenario where it's just completely ignored as well. And if it's ignored, that's what I'm interested in, considering we've also seen the ex-boyfriend of Anna, come out and say that he tried to warn the family about the uncomfortable, the bizarre behavior of the 16-year-old, allegedly, that he had witnessed on a FaceTime call with her earlier in the year or late last year. I don't recall exactly what the timestamp was, but it wasn't that far back.
Yep. So that right there from the boyfriend says to me that, in a way that Jennifer did a great job talking about that too, it was impromptu, it was natural, it didn't look like it was fabricated when he gave that statement. That's leakage. And so if the boyfriend that far removed is getting leakage, again, not of specifics, but there's some weirdness, there's some uncomfortableness, there's unhealthiness going on there, everyone in the family knows it. You can't be, there is zero probability that a boyfriend picked up on something on a FaceTime call in a split second that the rest of the family is not seeing. There's zero probability of that. And so
zero probability. So they swept it under the rug and ignored it.
What are people doing with that? It's either witting, or it's like don't want to believe it. It's all these things that go into your mind. There's a lot of dark places you can go with it, and there's a lot of places of just plausible deniability. But either way, people inside the family knew there was issues. The grandparents don't make a statement like that unless they're getting some sort of, tremor in the force, or as I'm calling the wobble, that there's a wobble, a behavior wobble there. Because if this is the way human behavior works. If there's leakage and someone that far removed is picking up on it, not over multiple times, but just something like this, the closer you get to the wobble, the more pronounced it is. Because and now to not do anything about it means that you are either involved in it, you're denying it and turn a blind eye to it. And so, and then so what would make someone, so say she has a problem with the 16-year-old, as has been alleged or, been insinuated by anyone. So what would inspire her to say, okay, to the room? Fear, threats, disclosure, shame. I don't know what it is, but so what? Because remember, fear is one of our great motivators to do actions and to not take actions. We saw it with the hiding the body. The way he hid the body was fear of being discovered. So why, if you're actually knowingly having a problem with one of your siblings or step siblings, in whatever capacity it is, whether it's just threat of violence or threat of sexual assault, I don't know what it is. But there's a fear factor there. What would inspire you to say yes to going on a cruise with him and being booked in the same room with him? Fear.
Yeah.
There's no other reason.
What would it mean, just playing in hypotheticals here, in terms of charges against the 16-year-old? If the story ends at, I was roughhousing, I did the chokehold, and it was a horrible accident, I went too far, I'm an idiot, I feel horrible. And that's it. There's nothing, and that there is nothing else, that there's no digital trail. There's no evidence that points to some sort of weird relationship or fantasy or or whatever. There's just nothing. It's just pretty normal, run of the mill, step sibling relationship shit. That's not looked at as criminal if it just ends there, versus they find a trail. Not necessarily if I'm planning on putting her in a chokehold and killing her on the horizon this weekend, but more so, whatever, something that points to frustration, anger, sexual desire, rejection, something along those lines, something that would basically look like some sort of a motive, some sort of an emotion that happened pre, or a pattern of emotion pre-cruise that then looks like here it erupts in that cabin and now she's dead. How does that change the type of charging? Could that be looked at as a premeditated murder if it wasn't necessarily planned, but there was a lot of angst about it and maybe some sort of writing or evidence of it, versus just nothing, even if it's not direct, I'm going to kill her, but I hate her. Who knows? I'm pure speculation.
Right. Yeah, you know me, I don't know the legal side nearly as
Yeah.
well. But I would, so here's where my mind automatically goes though, as you're describing that. And I'm with you. This isn't just a 0 to 100, I'm going to kill someone. This was an arc of behavior that's been established over time in this relationship. And also, it's also been part of this relationship because this is what makes this even a little bit more uniquely different than a typical homicide between two individuals. And that is, he's a 16-year-old and she's an 18-year-old, and they're both living at home. Which means, where's the culpability of people that should have kept them separated and kept them safe? So I think that's going to play into this a lot too. I think when they start interviewing people and they start looking at the digital footprints and they start looking at texting and they start looking at all the things go behind this, as well as they are interviewing teachers, they interview principals, guidance counselors, employers, when this web is going to be really vast, I think, to get a clear picture. And once they have that clear picture, or at least a clearer picture, then they're going to know what to do, I think, more effectively about when it comes to charges. Because is it just this one, misguided kid that everyone did all they could to prevent this thing from happening, and it was just a one-off? We thought he was healthy, and we thought he got the counseling, he's on his meds and all those things, and it was just a freak of nature kind of bad event? Or was this a pattern? Because that's what they're always looking for in cases. Was this a pattern and an escalation of this individual being allowed to go down the dark triad of abuse, of taking advantage of this abhorrent behavior, and it finally escalated into this, and it was being ignored?
Well, yeah, it was being ignored because dad is into that kind of stuff too, it would appear. That's just my own theory here.
Or was it one-off? So I think that's what they're going to come down to.
And then is that criminal beyond what the kid's doing? Is it criminal if you're the parent and you're ignoring? I mean, obviously, like in a school, this is not a school shooting, but we are seeing parents being charged now in school shootings where they can't just say, well, he's a bad apple. He just, kids are, you can't predict it. No, you bought him the gun, you ignored all these signs and all this. If it's something where, well, we ignored all these signs, all these issues that seem to be going on, we do not know the answer to any of those questions. Right. And it could be a mix. It could be a mix of, yeah, he had problems and we were getting him help. Right. And he still did what he did. Obviously, the more examples there are of the family trying to get the kid help, if there was indeed an issue here, there's so much conjecture in this. For sure. That certainly plays to the reality, if in fact it is that they were aware, but they were doing everything they could, because you can't just kick the kid out on the street.
Well, I don't think they were doing everything they could by putting them in the cabins together. What do you all think? I mean, I don't think they could have been doing everything they could. I think Tony's giving them a lot of grace here. He's certainly doing a lot of grace. He's giving them a lot of grace, which is I'm not prepared to do. Good on him, though. I'm not.
So that's a fine line between kids are being kids, suck it up, deal with it, and we're getting really concerning warnings from our daughter and completely ignoring them. There's a difference between that and two teenagers bickering back and forth. And that's what they're really going to have to try and determine.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be, again, I think the cell phone digital footprint is going to be really paramount in this. I think they're going to learn a lot from that. And they're also going to learn a lot from interviewing teachers, friends, and other members of the community that had interaction with the family, the father, the mother, and the siblings themselves too, to kind of get a really much deeper understanding of the dynamics that were going on, healthy, unhealthy, or, were they falling with a pattern, or was there just nonstop chaos? I really can't wait to see what's on those cell phones. It'll be really interesting. And it's not just for this time, and they're going to need to go back for a period of time to establish this arc. She's 18 now. I would go back as far as when she first started living with the dad, and they were getting divorced from the meth mom.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, we don't know if that's what she said. She was on drugs. We don't know what the drugs were, but one can make a guess. Considering one can make a wild guess.
He can tell because of her teeth, I think. Yeah, and this guy's a retired FBI agent, so.
No, considering, but according to her, it's a genetic gum disease that made her lose all of her teeth that her parents both had, who were also addicts, she says. So who knows? That's
God almighty.
The story that will be of that arc of life from basically birth to her unfortunate, very young death.
We don't get to choose the family as well. If we want to talk 3D world, I'm not going to get into too much spiritual, because I do believe we choose our families in the spiritual realm. But in 3D worlds, we don't get to choose our families. And it's, poor kid. It's just, it seems to me like she was desperately trying to get out of this SHIT show of a family, and it's so sad.
Is probably one where she lived a lifetime of trauma 10 times beyond
I think
the
so.
average human being.
And that's why I say it's going to be a lot uncovered, I think, in this digital
Yeah.
footprint. And as they do a deeper dive on this, it's going to take some time, because this is going to, it's going to take a lot of leads are going out. And I know, just listen to Jennifer, you know, as they're going, because we don't, in the Bureau don't prosecute, you know, minors. And so they're going to figure this, it's got a lot of stuff to figure out on that angle. And
so the Bureau does not prosecute minors. So we're trying to see if they're going to charge him. We're waiting for the charges to come out to see whether they're going to charge him as a juvenile or an adult. Well, yeah, with all the education, she was doing so well in it. It seems like they had her, she had her goals all set. Exactly. And I mean, being 18, she was probably imminently away from achieving them, which is the saddest thing ever, you know? Sad.
And I really think this is going to be more than them just trying to figure out whether they're going to prosecute a 16-year-old as an adult, not adult, or I think there might be other things that we find get involved in this case.
I think they just cracked a freaking egg open, and it's going everywhere, and the yolk's broken.
And we might save other people because of it.
I agree. It's one of those where I think, again, my conjecture, my feeling is there's a lot of things here that have been skirting under the radar for a long period of time. I don't know exactly.
Okay, so let's just think about this for a second. We know dad groomed the babysitter. We don't know if that's the existing stepmom or the one prior to that, and then married her at 18, and then the charges against him disappeared after he married the wife. Let's just assume he did the same thing that happened with wife 2. Let's just make the assumption, because I think that's what biological mom, who was a meth addict, who had lost all her teeth, had said with the red hair. Suggested it because she said she raised her. And we know this relationship's only a year old, so she can't have raised Anna. She's already been raised at 18. So if I'm correct in my assumption, let's assume dad did the same thing. And groomed this woman, who we see in the court video, looks barely older than the kids herself. And her son is 16. How many years did her son at 16 watch Anna's dad groom his mom at a young age? Would that do it? Do you get what I'm trying to piece together? Would that do it? Would that make this kid who can't control his emotions and his hormones think that this is justifiable actions? I mean, his mom was underage when she was being groomed by his now stepdad. I'm just curious. Now, that again is a lot of guessing and speculation, but it's not that far-fetched. Given we know he groomed one of his current or ex-wife at a young age, according to the bio mom. And Tony's investigated, and he says there's court filings. It happened. It's true. So this kid, I mean, both the dad and the bio mom, the 16-year-old now accused of this, the stepdad, his stepdad, Anna's biological father, and his mother, Anna's stepmother, are both liable, in my opinion. I mean, this is unbelievable.
What they are, but this is the thing that got people looking at them, that got the authorities notified. And now has the FBI investigating it, and whatever had been flourishing or existing for grand old periods of time is now going to come out in the open, and it may have absolutely nothing to do with her murder. But who knows what else? When you have chaos like this in a family, sometimes it knows no bounds. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope there's nothing. I hope this is it, and they can heal and move on. From what I've seen so far, I have my doubts, but
I hope it's just a horrendous, tragic mistake. Yeah. But likelihood of that is low.
We'll find out. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section on.
Oh, wow. So let's hope Anna gets justice. Now let's get into Gus Lamont, little Gus Lamont. Wow, let's watch this. This is an update from the Chaos Chronicles, but maybe before we do that, let's watch this. Because regrettably, if you recall, they went in to search for Gus in the mine shafts And well, y'all, they didn't find anything. They went into the 6 mine shafts and didn't find anything. So that is pretty disheartening. That's pretty disheartening. Listen in.
The latest police search for missing 4-year-old Gus Lamont has failed to find any trace of the boy, almost 9 weeks after he disappeared from a remote sheep station near Yunta, around 300 kilometres north of Adelaide. Josh Webster has the details. Josh, 6 old mine shafts were searched and cleared.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Tiff. These shafts were located on the property where Gus went missing in September, between 5 to 12 kilometres from the family's homestead. Police identified several locations.
Well, and don't forget, I just thought of it now. There's a 9-year-old. Anna's younger sister is 9 too. So there's that. There's that. Get her out of there. Stat. Okay, let's go back.
Where Gus went missing in September, between 5 to 12 kilometres from the family's homestead. Police identified several locations after analysis of aerial mapping from previous searches. Some shafts were relatively shallow, but others were up to 20 metres deep, where specialised equipment was required to complete the searches. There was hope of a discovery today, with police leaving no stone unturned in the search, exploring if little Gus had fallen down one of the shafts. But for the family, it was another heartbreaking day with no evidence of the 4-year-old found. Star Group and Task Force Horizon officers were also on foot today, combing over more unsearched areas, again failing to locate any trace of Gus.
Nightmare situation for the family here, but also all South Australians, I think, are sort of riding that with Gus's family. Certainly I've spoken to the police about it. I think they're doing everything they can. They take it incredibly seriously. They are following up leads and other opportunities to try and find Gus.
Now, police have not ruled out returning to the remote property as the investigation continues. Tiff, tomorrow marks 2 months since little.
This case is also so sad. What do you guys think about this case? I just hope she is removed. Well, that's what the dad is trying to fight in court with right now, Lisa. I'm going to play another video on missing Gus here. I haven't watched the whole thing, so if I end it, we'll end it. I'm not a big fan of these AI channels, but this one's not all AI, I don't believe.
Police have begun searching unsealed mine shafts near the remote property where 4-year-old Gus Lamont went missing in late September. Let's bring in former homicide detective Gary Driblin for more on this now. Gary, good morning. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. You've got incredible insight when it comes to these kinds of searches. It's been 60 days since he first went missing, little Gus. Why are they only now searching the mine shafts over there?
They've always indicated that they're going to look at all possibilities. I think the fact that they've extended the search to mine shafts is indicative of the fact that they're looking at possible intervention, human intervention, because it would be unlikely that Gus would be able to...
Okay, so now they might be looking at human intervention 2 months later. My God.
...make his way that far. So I think it's a slight shift that they're looking at all possibilities and there might be some form of intervention in Gus's disappearance.
It's such hostile earth, right? It's such a hostile environment. What is it in particular that mystifies police so dramatically with this particular case? Is it the environment?
The environment is a contributor, but I think the fact that they haven't got any evidence at this stage, and that's why they're broadening the search. So they're looking for any possibility of obtaining some information that might give them an idea on what happened to Gus.
It's been 60 days. How much closer are you to any kind of evidence, any kind of answers?
This is a grind part of an investigation where police will be reviewing the information they've got, analysing what they've got and looking at other possibilities. So it's a tough time, I would suggest, 60 days in.
Yeah, this search will take 3 days in this particular part of the area. Where do they go next?
I think they would look back at all the information they've got and explore all opportunities, but the fact that they're searching so far away from where Gus first disappeared suggests to me they're looking at possible intervention.
Yeah, all right, Gary, thanks so much for joining us.
So this was his reporting before they found nothing in the shafts. This is his, his theory as them extending possible intervention as a new theory by going so far away from the home to look in those mine shafts. We now know they found nothing in those mine shafts.
They get some answers soon, especially for the family.
Sometimes a case reaches a point where the silence becomes louder than the evidence.
So I just wanted to show that because I thought it was interesting to show another, you know, an investigator, finally someone coming up saying, hey, it's likely they're now expanding their search to some sort of intervention. In other words, maybe he was, you know, removed against his will from the home and didn't just walk away. So let's get into Jack and Lily. Let's get into Jack and Lily. Now, hold on. Oh, that one is too long. Sorry, my apologies. Okay, I want to talk about this. I know this was in all the Facebook groups. Barb, you wanted me to talk about this. And I don't want to like expose this gentleman. I don't want to do any harm to this gentleman, but I did not, he's from the area. He didn't have enough subscribers to go live. And so he was posting in the Facebook group that he needed to tell about the story, something about the story of Jack and Lily, something related to this theory, right? And he was in his hospital bed wanting to tell what he, you know, deems to be evidence regarding the case. Have you all seen this? Because I definitely don't want to expose him as anything other than not well. Okay. He's not well. And I think we need a lot of empathy for this, but I wasn't even going to show it. But I haven't heard Gus's mother father speak out. No, it's very strange. Yeah. So Barb, I think you're here in the chat still. I know you were emailing me. Well, I feel sad for him. I think he's unwell emotionally, but and I didn't want, like, I don't think there's anything of value here. Yeah. So I don't think there's anything of value here. That's evidentiary wise, which is why I didn't play it. So now I'm even wondering if we should even play it. It's I'm just wondering if I should even play it. I'm going to say no. I don't want to play it. Let's just say he claims that a woman came to him at one point and that he was having relations with her, sexual relations with her, that he's implying is Malaya, that she told him she was going to concoct a plan to remove the kids from the house. Yeah, I know, Barb. I know. And I feel very sad for him. So I don't want to expose him. So like, I don't want to make fun of him. I think he's definitely unwell. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but I don't want to give too much attention to it. So I'm going to change my mind and we're not going to go there. So let's watch this because this is really interesting. This is another behavioral analysis. I love the behavioral channel. And this is Greg Hartley and one of their students, Sadie. Her channel is the Prime Minister of Behavior. And they are talking about the analysis of the parents' statements. So let's go and watch this instead and listen to this.
Guy has a ton of red flags.
Yeah.
In my taste, and yours too.
Today I'm joined by someone I truly admire and I'm happy to call a friend. You probably know him from the Behavior Panel, but he's also written several books on body language and behavior, including this one I've got right here, How to Spot a Liar. Greg Hartley is here with me today to break down the behavior of Jack and Lily's mom and stepdad. And there's a lot happening beneath the surface. So let's dive right in.
Congrats on your channel.
Thank you.
Glad things are going well for you.
Oh, thank you so much. I wanted to say thank you so much for all of the lessons that you have taught me the last 5 years. It's been incredible. I would not be where I am today had it not been for you guys. There would be no Prime Minister of Behavior without the behavior panel. So
You do a
thank
great
you.
job. You do a great job on all the stuff you do too, Sadie. And look, everybody who's watching you, if you hadn't subscribed, subscribe to this channel. Sadie's one of our best friends in the whole world. She's family. She's more than friends. She's part of the team you see behind her there.
Yeah.
So Sadie's learned a lot of stuff. And remember, my whole mindset about body language and behavior is I use this whole system I call READ, read.
Mhm.
And it's about review, put things in boxes, figure out this is this and this is that, but no meaning. Evaluate, understand how everything goes together, analyze, look at the big picture, and then take your knowledge, that D piece, take your knowledge and decipher what it means. And because of that, I think that every time somebody learns this skill set, they bring a new facet to it because they're looking at it from their life experiences, not from mine. And I always say, you know, I'm lucky enough that I've had more than one career to learn from. And I was a good interrogator, did a lot of interrogation. But then I got the chance to live with civilians who haven't committed a crime and have to work through them. And that gave me a whole new insight into this, how all these skills work. So your life skills are going to do the same for you. And no two of us will have exactly the same skill set, which is what I think is beautiful about this thing.
Absolutely.
So today I got up at 3 a.m. to leave the place I was in. I was in the airport and I was going to send this to you at 4 a.m. And I was like, yeah, that's a little bit early.
I was up.
But oh yeah, I figured you might. But I was just digging through videos and I really wanted to cover this case you guys are dealing with because I think we can add some value as a team. But I don't think we're going to. I think it needs some immediate action. And you and I both agreed, let's just look at it. And I found 20 seconds of a clip that I just went, oh, I need to call Sadie. And that's how we got started on this conversation. And you said, well, you wait till you see the mother. So I'd seen the father.
Yeah.
Realized I have not seen anything of the mother. Sadie's pulled some clips and we're going to talk about those. I'm not going to preach. We're going to talk. How's that?
Perfect.
Me and my family still go out sometimes and search, but everything's been searched that we can really dive into at this time. They have over 12,000 man hours searched in the woods, and they're planning on doing more, which I'm really grateful for.
First off, what was your immediate response when you saw that 10 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever it was?
So I noticed before in another video that he did, he talks very, he speaks in finality. He doesn't say, oh, it's ongoing, you know, he talks as if the search is already done, you know, like it's like, oh yeah, we did that. We searched everything. It's, you know, it's done.
Yeah, and some people do that.
Right.
You know, usually you don't think they'll do that when there's hope for their child. Some people talk about everything in past tense. You know, one of the things I always push back on statement analysis about is some people just are educated differently. I'm not sure he's the smartest guy in the world. So just, I can't tell by this video, but I did see a couple of things. But yeah, it seems pretty closed-ended. Not, hey, can you help us?
Right.
Not, hey, I mean, for me, if my kid was missing, I'd be like, hey guys, we've done everything we know how. How about you help us? Write in, send ideas, do anything. Look, you got a cell phone, take pictures of any little kid footprints you got.
Yeah.
None of that's there. Nothing. It just feels like, well, you know, they've been gone a few days. All right, maybe we just throw in the towel now.
Yeah.
It just feels awkward. Yeah, that part feels awkward. I agree with you.
It really feels like I mean, at the same time, it also has been over a month now at this point. I guess the interview was a few days ago that this happened.
Okay.
So it's been almost a month at this point. So I feel like at that point you would likely be.
Yeah, you'd feel pretty destitute. And I say this all the time. Usually you're lost everything. I mean,
Right.
I don't share this all the time, but you know, we lost our son.
Mhm.
And in
I
3
didn't know
weeks,
that
I had
about him.
And God, I can't know how Dina even got through it, but in 3 weeks, your personality is gone. You're so emotionally wrung out. You just can't.
So
it's
sad. I had
unimaginable.
no idea
And a lost
that I
child is
lost a
probably
son.
as bad or worse.
Mhm.
There's the lost child, at least there's still that glimmer of hope at the end.
Right.
But it's, I don't know. The thing for me that made the reason I called you, the reason I texted this though, is we want you to go back and watch as we talk about this. And Sadie's going to figure out how to make that really pretty because she does that for us all the time. But this guy, his speech patterns change as he's talking about where they have searched. He's got a pretty good little clip going there.
Families still go out sometimes and search, but everything's been searched that.
And then he goes to
everything's been searched.
And, you know, I always say what's going on is the monkey brain is taking over. That cat brain, this is when you guys always joke around when I said I'm bringing a monkey to the dance. I work really hard to get people to this position where they can't think.
Right.
And he is trying to figure the right words. And he says, dive in.
Dive into at this time.
Not only does he say that, his shoulders come up and he bounces a little bit when he says it. And it's out of place. Everything, go back and watch cadence, watch pronunciation, watch volume about dive, watch all those pieces and tell me what you see, or what do you see, Sadie? Because this is out of his base and a weird choice of words.
And, a lot of people believe that these kids are in water, right? Including Mike Demand. Krista, thank you for sending me his email address. I decided not to send him a message right now because he's working on summer wells. But if he starts to go back to Jack and Lily, I'll definitely reach out to him to see if he wants to come up and chat with me. So thank you for sending that email or posting his email address. But yeah, Mike's been saying water all the time, right? He's been saying they're in the water, I think.
If I were talking to law enforcement, I would start searching the water around this place. That's a weird choice of words. Maybe he says it all the time.
Everything's been searched that we can really dive into at this time.
My little suspicious brain is going, something's up here. Embedded confessions look just like that.
Wow. When you sent me that message and you gave me that time,
Embedded confessions looked just like that. Wild.
I went right to it and I saw that and I hadn't even put that together before you had said that. And it was so shocking.
And are you talking about the cars like the neighbor's home the night before? If that's so, the police said they didn't get anything on camera. So I don't think they can validate or disprove either way because they don't have any evidence other than the neighbors. Is that what the car you're talking about? The neighbor's testimony of hearing a car. They're not saying it didn't happen. They just can't substantiate it with, there's no camera, CCTV footage showing those cars.
To see that.
Yeah, it's just such a weird word pattern change. And look, when we talk about body language, what we're really talking about is change, because all of us communicate. And, I would say this, 3 pieces, 2 pieces. The 3 pieces you communicate with are gestures, illustrators, and regulators. And the 2 pieces that protect you, adapters and barriers. We expect a person to be fluid and speak and move their hands. He's not doing that we can see. His shoulders go up when he says dive is the only time we see any real movement. He's communicating something, whether it's intentional or not is another question. Is he communicating we don't know where else to look? We're hopeless.
I also just wanted to talk about, y'all, did you see the readings I did, the 2 readings I did, and the barrel card came out? We're going to look here in a second because somebody posted saying that there's a barrel behind the black barn. So we're going to go into that in a little bit and see if I can find a barrel. Also, I did 2 videos yesterday. I'm trying to create the new channel, but I am not going to do any more tarot videos because I'm posting them on this channel to get everybody to subscribe to the new channel, which I cannot continue doing because the whole point is that it's affecting this channel with 2 different audiences. Now, given that one of those videos has about 800, 900 views from yesterday, but only 80 or 90 of you have subscribed, that tells me that there's not really a lot of you interested in the tarot. So at this point, I'm not even going to promote that channel. I'm not going to do more tarot readings until I hear enough people want it, because it seems like people don't want the tarot readings. Not enough of you. Like I said, if I show you how many people watch those readings versus how many people subscribed on the new channel, it's just there's not enough. So I'm not going to be doing any more until we get that channel up to the 500, and I'm not sure there's enough people to even do that. So onwards and upwards regarding that. But I do want to go and see whether there's a barrel at the Black Barn.
But dive is a weird choice of places there. So I think I'd dig in a little bit if I were the police.
I know you do, honey.
Yeah,
But
that's great.
Weird.
Wow. So now we can watch.
The mom.
Yeah, let's watch.
I haven't seen her.
I know you do, but no, it's okay, honey. It's not saying you guys aren't. I know some of you are because there's 90 of you. But I used to have 3,000-4,000 people watching. Hey, Mike or Mikkel. I used to have 4,000 or 5,000 people watching some of those tarot readings, and they're just now we're down to 800 or 900 of you, and only 90 of you interested in the other channel. So just saying, for now, I'm just going to leave those alone for now.
Yet at all.
Because I'm also writing my book. So
this will be interesting. And sorry, guys, we haven't gotten to this on the channel, but I think it's more important to say that you do it because you're local, you reach more people close. And yeah, and thank you for bringing me on.
Oh my gosh, thank you for being here. I told you this is like a dream come true. This is like,
don't be silly. This is your family.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
I'm just staying as hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home. What happened was we woke up, I heard them playing in the next room beside us, and I was drifting in and out of sleep. And they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them. And they happen to just get out that sliding door, and we can't hear it when it opens. And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time. And the next thing we knew, it was quiet. And we get up, and I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, do you hear the kids? And he says, no. And we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. And I instantly just call 911. I just had the instinct I needed to call. They're both really go-lucky children. They're so sweet. They talk to anyone. They'll talk your ear off. They will speak to anyone in a store. Everyone. They're just extremely sweet kids.
Yeah, my first observations, just very first things. And remember, this is the first time I've seen her. Up talk, up talk, up talk when she's talking about the kids. Down talk, down talk, down talk when she's talking about what other people have said to her. That's a baseline deviation, because if other people have said something and you're saying, they told me, they told me, they told me, why would you say the kids are good? They would go outside.
Yeah, I've talked about this too. Studying language as a coach, as a sales coach, and I've talked to you about this before. Canadians, there is a distinction, however, because I coached in Texas. Austin, Texas, head office was Austin, Texas. And talk your ear off, but they said nothing. Yeah, I know. But the upswing is a much more Canadian thing to do, because I coached American and Canadian teams. And I learned that Canadians talk much more because we're soft and gentle by nature. That's kind of what we're known for. So we talk more in an upswing naturally than Americans. But you can hear the upswing when you say, I don't know where my kids are. I don't know where my kids are. Do you feel the difference? When I go to a lower register, I don't know where my kids are. That is factual. I don't know where my kids are. That leaves doubt, because you're talking in a higher pitch. When you go to a higher pitch at the end of your sentence, it's like posing a question. It's uncertain. And so when you're listening for language and patterns, you're where the sentence ends, whether there's a high pitch, which means the person making that statement is unsure of their own statement, or whether it's a downward inflection, is, get out of my house. There is no mistaking, get out of my house. Get out of my house is less confrontational. Get out of my house, right, is less confrontational than get out of my house. Do you feel that? So that's what you're listening for in statements. That's what they're talking about. Uptick versus downtick.
The other question that comes to mind for me immediately, and this is without body language, if you know they go outside because you tell them not to, why don't you fix that problem? I would want to go see the door and say, how'd they get out? Because I block my own sliding door with some kind of apparatus so somebody can't open it. Much less if children are in there, so people can come in. Forget the children going out. Why wouldn't you have a lock of some kind so nobody can come in? So there's a ton of questions from a logic point of view. But that up talk, she appears to have grief in her brow, but she's also in the sun, which is tough. I mean, when a person's in the sun, they may do that. I do it a lot because I'm very pale skinned and blue eyed. So in the sun, I'm doing that all the time. So it's really tough to know, is the person squinting or showing grief? I don't see, there were a couple other things in there too. We played a fairly long clip. What about you, Sadie? Because you've watched it.
Well, I noticed that she doesn't start with, the way that she starts the story is at the very beginning of the day, as opposed to when you come out of the room and you see that your children are gone. I feel like that would be the most important thing to highlight.
Yeah. I think that's a good call. Sometimes if it's been a while, then it's then it may take a while. And you may go back and answer questions because people
Right.
have poked and prodded you. Like
This-
guys I've interrogated, they almost start always back at the beginning of the story if you give them a chance.
Okay. This interview, for context, was the day after. So they
Oh,
left
yeah,
on the
you-
Friday,
agreed.
and this is on the Saturday.
Feels like a setup. Feels like a setup then. Yep. If they're
Yes.
saying, oh, early in the morning, we heard them. And then of course, remember Cleo Smith, the little
Yeah.
girl? They said the same thing. Remember,
Yeah.
they said we could hear her in the room next to us and then we couldn't hear her.
Mhm.
So sometimes people do feel guilty.
Well, not only Cleo Smith, we talked about it here with Elijah Vu, how similar that was.
And we'll tell you more details.
Mm.
She's at least less right out of the gate, as far as we've watched. She's at least less concerning for me than the guy, because that big word pattern disruption makes me want to. And look, it can be nothing.
Yeah.
But he would get undivided attention if I were in the room with him over that statement. What else
Yeah.
did you see? Because I again,
There's
first time
a-
looking at it.
Yeah, and it was a long clip. I should have broken it to parts.
Man, we can go back and watch pieces if you want. I got time for whatever you want to do. I thought I saw disgust in there one time too. I thought I saw, but it can be sunlight as well. So there's reason I didn't mention it when I saw the little nose crinkle.
It's been raining and they're probably soaking wet, but with the sun today, I'm hopeful that they are feeling warm. We're all filled with pain and sorrow.
I mean, that is an interesting part of the question. I do believe she feels grief, but it's after the fact, the neglect, the guilt. Yeah, it could be. But I also, I'm just so curious as to we're all feeling pain and sorrow. Sorrow is not worry. Sorrow is something you feel over a loss. Worry is something you think you would be feeling in that moment.
Because
it's
we
just
just want them
interesting.
found.
Look at her
I want
forehead now. When she says pain and sorrow, the horseshoe's gone. It was there earlier.
I
Yeah,
want
and
them
in
whole.
this case, I'm less suspicious of her saying wet because she's saying it's been raining. I get that. The other guy, though, that dive thing is just so out of place. I mean, where do
Yeah.
they live? They live right on the ocean?
They live right in the middle of the woods, but there are lakes around. And I mean, it's
Okay.
Nova Scotia, so there's ocean.
Well, and he doesn't know. Sadie didn't research it, but they're 20-minute drive to the ocean, I think, maybe a little bit longer.
Like
Yeah, an hour away.
an hour.
Let me look it up now.
If that. Like,
Oh, I'm just wondering because some people use dive all the time because maybe that's his hobby or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to give him the benefit of a doubt. But
right.
that choice of words, if you were doing a normal choice of words and you use it all the time, you would say,
Yeah.
there's no place to dive in. That's not what he does. He's
Yeah.
Tell me what you've got, Sadie, because you probably got a ton of stuff. You've been watching this. And
Oh yeah, I've been overwatching this. I feel like I've been getting too far into it. It's so interesting because
Okay, 30 minutes.
To be honest, I had a lot of red flags with her, and I'm
So I just looked it up on Chat GTP. I entered in their address, 1407 Garlock Road in Pictou County, Nova Scotia. The closest ocean access is at Waterside Beach Provincial Park on the Northumberland Strait. The drive is approximately 30 minutes. So we'll look at that when we get into looking to see if we can find a barrel here at the Black Barn.
still on the fence with the stepfather. So there's one point where she stumbles over the word search effort, which I just stumbled over. So I guess that's not
Right,
really
right.
saying much, but I just
I heard that.
was wondering what you thought of that.
Yeah, I heard it and I didn't assign anything to it because it's a weird, people don't use it every day. It's not
Right.
like 7-Eleven or something like that, convenience store.
Yeah.
Most of us don't ever have a reason to have search effort. We don't. I mean,
Right.
I'm a military guy, so different kind of mindset. But you would think that she would have a little. The lilting up is my problem. Search effort didn't. And let's go back and listen. I bet when she says search effort, she doesn't lilt up. She
Mhm.
only does it when she's talking about the kids.
Yeah.
She's asking for approval when she's talking about the kids and not when she's talking about other things. Good call out though, because those kinds of things sometimes are the biggest red flag.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's so there's so much going on here that there's just so many questions regarding this case in general where you just have no idea what's happening. So everything
And,
is
here's the thing: when you lose a kid, things are. I mean, God forbid anybody deals with a kid getting kidnapped or lost or even any of that.
Mhm.
But your brain, there's no place in your brain for that. And when it first happens, you're scrambling for trying to understand. You don't have any. This is a frame of reference problem. And if it's day one, you can be scrambling for what the hell, how this happened, what did I do wrong, even
Right.
if it is above board. Now add to that when it isn't above board, a different story. So I think we have to give them a benefit of a doubt a lot of times. And you'll hear me say that, like sometimes people have no frame of reference. Sometimes there might be drugs involved, meaning they were sleeping because,
Right.
and there's guilt associated. I don't know anything about these people, but if they drank a lot the night before and they slept through and their kids disappeared, that could be guilt.
Yeah.
So I try to look for all those reasons when I'm thinking about it. And so, yeah, I appreciate you doing it this way. Sadie is worth looking for. That lilt up is my first red flag.
Yeah.
I appreciate the huge search effort going on right now, but we've been pushing for an Amber Alert, which hasn't been issued.
They were really adamant that they were abducted and they weren't really looking into any other option.
That's different. Yeah. That when
Yeah.
a person comes up with, especially if you live in the woods, you live in
Yeah.
the woods, you know, if I live in the woods and my kids have access to a door, truly have access to a door and can go out and play.
Yeah.
Like I said, number one, I'm going to bolt that door shut because these are little babies, you know.
Absolutely.
But number two, my first horror would be they're lost in the woods.
Yes.
I'm going to try to find them. I would look for footprints and look for all that. I mean, my brain goes to logical first.
Mhm.
How would you didn't hear the door open? You didn't hear a kid scream like, "Oh my God, who's here?"
Yes.
So why would you immediately go to abducted? Unless they're saying they wandered in the woods and got abducted.
Right.
And that would mean somebody's waiting for them because
Yeah.
they're in the woods. So there's a lot of logic things when somebody immediately goes to they're abducted
Yeah.
because that disperses the search
Exactly.
quickly
Well,
and takes people off of other things.
and the interesting thing too is that they keep throughout the multiple interviews, she only did one. She only did this one. And the
Okay.
stepfather did multiple. And it's always been said that they are very friendly. They'll talk to anybody. They'll talk your ear off. So it makes it
Okay.
seem like they're kind of setting it up so that they're, they were abducted, kind of like pushing the attention elsewhere.
Well, that's when a person immediately goes to abduction. Of course, that's a fear of all parents that their
Right.
child's abducted if they're out. But that's more likely to happen if you're in a populated area.
For sure.
You live on acreage, especially if you have dogs and all that kind of thing. I don't know anything about their situation.
Mhm.
When people go that way, when they know they insist they're abducted, then you're like, okay, how could that possibly be? We're in the
Yeah.
woods. The McCanns immediately said she's abducted.
Mhm.
Well, of course they did because they're in a very tightly populated area and she's disappeared.
Right.
And they walked all around the place and looked. And people will say that that's criminal. That they did something. By the way, there's a brand new search going on right now in Portugal for the two places that guy who's the prime suspect occupied, looking for remains.
Wow.
So for the
I do too, and I personally believe that they are. I do personally also believe, but let me just show you this for a second, just to show you. And I'll pull this back up just to show you the distance. To Pictou Landing. So this is where the water. Okay, I just right near Westville, and they were in Westville that day. Don't forget. Let me pull up the one so I'm basically in the background. Don't forget they were in Westville that day, right? In New Glasgow, rather. So really not that far out. Can you see this from their home? 31 minutes to Pictou Landing right here, which is this inlet into the ocean. 31 minutes. And it would have been, we know they were in New Glasgow. It's right there. It's right there. Now, they went home that night, but could they have just made it back? Did they go back routes to try to find their way to there? So we don't really know, but I just find it interesting if I'm wrong about the barn, which I don't believe, but if I am wrong, it's a 31-minute drive. 31-minute drive. Now, while we're up, I think we're just going to go to the barn right now, and then we'll get back into this video because I don't want to harbor on this too long, but I do want to find this barn on this road, which we know is not far down this road. Let's go back here. Let's find the barn. Let's find the barn. I want to see if there is, in fact, a barrel. Okay, there it is. I mean, it's not that far. Oh my God, is that what's a barrel? Is that a barrel? Okay, let's see if I can go back a little bit. How do I get the aerial view? I want to see it from above. Street view. No, sorry. Maybe the barn was holding spot. Ah. I saw something behind it. Let me just see if we can turn around and then turn around again. Because there's two barns there. Is that what they're saying? Looks like a barrel. Because there's the barn in behind the house too, right? Trying to get in there. Sorry, y'all. Sorry, y'all. I want to get in here. I want to get in here. No, I don't think it's a barrel. I think that's a mistake. Don't see a barrel here. Let's see if we can go up this laneway. I mean, there might be behind this building, but I can't seem to get into it. I think that's just trees. I don't think there's a barrel here. I think that person is mistaken. And then we also, like, even if we could see one here. I just don't see it. I don't see a barrel unless it's in the video that we showed from the person driving by, because this is Google Earth and God knows how long ago this was taken, right? I don't see it. I don't see it. But that doesn't mean I'm, I don't know, unless it's in the video that the person was taking. I just don't see it. So let's go back to getting this analysis up, because I think it's can you go aerial view? I'll try it again in a little bit, but I'm not able to, for some reason I'm not able to pick it up, and I don't know why. I'm not sure.
Just to give you an example, this is 19 years later.
Holy.
So children can disappear into thin air, and it can be an abduction. So I understand why people would feel that way, but like you, that would be your first call if your kids were not where they were supposed to be, where you
Yeah.
live. You'd be like, oh my God, they're in the woods.
Yeah. There's bears.
dangerous?
Like there's
Bears. Bears.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I would not jump to that. Yeah, it's very interesting that was, and it seems like that was a big point for them, just continuously trying to push Amber Alert, somebody abducted them.
So let's talk about something let's remember we talked about D and read. Most important thing is the D. Let's talk about how you would react. Not just you, but your neighbors. You live in the same province. You live in a very wooded area, not far from there.
Yeah.
And your immediate reaction would be, hey, where are my kids?
Yeah.
What else? What's abnormal from a cultural point of view that you're noticing that I wouldn't pick up on?
Right. I guess that I feel like there's just so much. Like, I think that's why I'm so drawn to this case, because there's so much to it that I'm finding so many things abnormal. It's not just like one thing, it's everything. Like, even like you said, the door, they say that the sliding door is quiet and they snuck out of it. And
put a bell on the damn thing. I mean,
even looking, there's like a picture that was taken of it, and it does not look silent. It does not look like a quiet door that a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old could open easily. Right. And I mean, same thing. We have one of those doors in our bedrooms, and there's a 2x4 like blocking it, so it can't open. So I don't know. There's just,
well, it doesn't pass the sniff test for logic. Number one, we all are going, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Then when I hear that up talk, if we go back and listen to that up talk, we can
Yeah.
figure out which part she up talked and which part she didn't, and say, is there a problem there?
Yeah.
Because I would say body language is what brought me to the YouTube channel, but I'm really a motivation guy. I'm about what's going on in somebody's head when they're doing this. And so I look, big ears, little eyes. I listen first and then look. So I hear those things. They scream at me when a person's doing all that up talk.
Wow. That's very interesting. I noticed that on I Want Them Home. She does an up talk. And it just really it seems so uncertain that she wants them home, which is weird. And then she does a shoulder shrug when she says I want them home again for the second time. She does a double shoulder shrug.
Yeah, and you know, that can, if your hands are up, that can be helplessness. Look, I want them home. That can
Yeah.
be helplessness. But if
So
it's
let's
that,
see. Yeah, let's see.
that'd be
Let's see,
interesting
because that's right at the start, and then we can watch the up talk, the tone as well at the same time.
As hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home. What happened was we woke up, I heard them playing in the next room beside us, and I was drifting in and out of sleep. And they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them. And they happen to just get out that sliding door, and we can't hear it when it opens.
so here, you hear that and.
Yes.
Those are opportunities. It doesn't mean that the person's being deceptive.
Okay.
Anytime a person says and, that is a shortened version of and then after that.
Right.
And that's called time hiding.
Yes.
There's any time a person uses a contracted time, there's a problem. Because remember, I talk about occasionally micro interview. And a micro interview says, you said and, hold on, let's open that up. And then you listen. This is a beautiful way to catch a lot of liars. They're running along, they're going boom, 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 and then after that, everything else goes away. You pick the and then, and you open that up. You say, okay, let's narrow this down a little bit. You just keep doing that until you find the anomaly. And often body language comes with it, because that and then is the smoothest way to pass over omitted time. And omitted time, you know, I always use the example. I went to write my ex-wife her alimony check and then went home, but you backed over it. You just didn't mention it. You know, that's the way people lie. It's the easiest way. If I can glide over something, like, I'm
That's
not saying
hilarious.
that's the case, but it's a good indicator. She's saying and that you need to clean it up and ask some questions. Might be your normal speech pattern.
I did actually notice that the and hiding time.
People do it to you every day, so you don't notice it's a problem. And then I went to, and after that, and what's interesting is like the forward and backward pass that you use. I didn't learn that in interrogation. I learned that actually running construction projects, because you forward and backward pass construction to make sure you're not missing anything. And, you know, I was teaching interrogation still at the time up at lettered agencies up in DC. And I said, look, forward backward pass is a powerful tool we use in project management. They can take a story apart, because timelines are, nobody practices backward.
Right. Yeah, it's like doing the alphabet backwards.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I always think it's unfair when they're trying to pull somebody, over, they're trying to catch them for drunk driving. They say that the alphabet backwards. I'm like, I'm drunk, man. I'm drunk right now.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how to do that, and I'm sober. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That most of the things that I have, except, yeah, I guess we kind of went over the they're so sweet. They talk to anyone.
Go play that little piece too, because that's where the lilting starts. Right after that, I think, is where the lilting gets worse, right?
Yeah.
They're both really go-lucky children. They're so sweet. They talk to anyone. They'll talk your ear off. They will speak to anyone in a store. Everyone. They're just extremely sweet kids.
Not a whole lot. There's just opportunities for her to hide information that I would not leave alone.
Right.
And there's some logic gaps. Your culture, you know the culture. Look, most of the people who are going to watch you could have 1 million people watch this, and 20 would probably know the culture, because you live in a very secluded area, very isolated area. And so you'll have more understanding. So talk about that in your analysis. Say, look, I live in this world.
Yeah.
This is not how things go.
No.
Where I live in the part of Georgia I live in, we recognize outsiders very quickly. We all do, because
Right.
the world is very different here. So take advantage. Remember, I always said everybody's born able to do the same things unless they have a disability. And then we start assigning meaning to body language. And then culture's primary power in body language is to pair your ability to do things.
Right.
So, you know, your little kid will come in the room using a middle finger, and you'll go, stop.
Yeah.
Because it means something.
Yeah.
At least it wouldn't mean the same thing.
Right.
You know, your little kid runs in and does that. Doesn't mean the same thing in UK.
Yeah.
So all those places, we start assigning meaning to it. And there's a lot of cultural anomaly, number one, in a given region, but also in the kind of people who move.
Sorry, is this happening again that you guys are getting booted out? I don't know if it's StreamYard or good afternoon. Hello, sweetie pie. I don't know if it's StreamYard or YouTube kicking you ladies out. I'm sorry. I don't know.
To wilderness.
Right.
I mean, you and I share a love for no neighbors up close. And my neighbors, I can't see one.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens when I do trafficking tomorrow morning. We're going to do trafficking specials tomorrow on Saturday. We're going to do Jack and Lily and Dylan Ethler on Sunday. And then we're going to start Sebastian next week. But yeah, I'm sorry if you're getting booted out. That's either StreamYard or YouTube thing. And I'm so sorry. I don't know. It's been acting up crazy. The other reason yesterday I got screwed up was I had posted those videos to go at different times than they went out. So I wasn't going to do a live at the same time one of those videos was going out. So definitely, it's definitely one or the other. Yes, exactly, Hope. And that's what happened to me yesterday. I was supposed to go live at 6, I think, and then one of my videos went out. Welcome in, sweetie. Thank you for doing the YouTube things. Thank you. There's 65 of you in here. If more of you could do the YouTube things, that would be really, really beneficial for these kids as well to get their story out
That's about 300 yards from me. Good guy, good friend, a cop. We get along great. And then the neighbors drop off from there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of the points that the stepfather made was that they wouldn't cross the street. So it's very strange because I have a 6-year-old and it's very much like if she wanted to cross the street, she would probably cross the street if she felt like crossing, which she's not allowed to, but it doesn't mean they won't.
Sadie, this is a really weird one because the likelihood that this kid's just walked off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really does not seem likely. And it's and the fact that they're pushing the abduction is even more concerning.
That's a big red flag. It is a big red flag. And look, some people would do that because they want the government involved in everything. But usually people who move out to the woods don't want a lot of government involved.
No.
I mean,
it's a very interesting
the last place
comment.
you call is the government and say, hey, do this.
It's a very interesting comment that he makes because we know this is a very remote community and a lot of them seem to have a disdain for the government, for the police, just what I've heard. So it's very interesting that he says that.
Yep. Also, for more context, I didn't want to say this beforehand, but the mother left the property after that interview that she had with the media. So apparently the stepfather and the mother got in a big fight of some kind, and now she's gone. She's left the property.
Interesting.
Yes.
That could say something about a whole lot of things, but just leave that alone for a minute.
Yeah. All right. So here's the stepfather.
I know they took their boots. That's pink boots for Lily, blue boots for Jack, with dinosaurs on them. Lily had her backpack with white, and it was white, strawberries on it. I imagine now if they're in the woods, that it'd be probably brown, but I don't see them carrying their backpack. I don't see them keeping a pull-up on for that long after it got soaked from the very first day. We only found the 2 boot tracks outside of the house.
Whereabouts?
Right beside the house, probably 10 feet away from the backyard.
In the backyard, okay.
Nothing new, other than the helicopters are still in the air, and they had dogs. They took around the dogs today. And
I see one thing right off the bat. Why do you ask, Sadie? Why do you ask? They had their boots. You see that eye lock? Boom.
Yeah.
Something's up with eye lock like that. Now, maybe he's just socially awkward because, they said their kids are on the spectrum. It's possible he's got something going on there. But that hard eye lock is not typical of people.
So Greg doesn't know that those are not his biological kids. Greg doesn't know they're not his biological kids. Daniel needs to come clean. Yeah, they all do. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So then if it's not that maybe Daniel has also autistic trends and tendencies because he doesn't realize that these are not his biological kids, then he finds that eye lock interesting on what they were wearing, right?
Spectrum either. Most of the time they're all over the place.
Right.
But that hard eye contact, we always suspect a person when they do it. Scott and I, oddly enough, I have this thing up behind me still from last week from the show we just did for Thursday. And in that was where we talk about romancer. Remember that hard eye contact. It's, I want to make sure that you are paying attention to me and I want to make sure of how things go.
Yeah.
Usually people are moving their eyes, especially in accessing. If we go back and look, and he's going, it was blue boots and pink boots, and then a white backpack with red somethings on it.
Huh.
That's hard to do. I mean, think about. Let me ask you this: what's your little girl wearing right now? Watch your eyes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's so true.
You know, they took their boots. That's pink boots for Lily, blue boots for Jack with dinosaurs on them.
See,
Wow. Her backpack.
I would be suspicious of this guy on a grand scale because.
Wow, because he's asking Sadie, when you go to remember something, your eyes go either up to the left or up to the right, and he's not doing that, which is suggesting he's not going into his recall to access that information, that it's coming from pure lies and made up, not from recall, because his eyes would go up, because that's why he asked Sadie, what is your daughter wearing from this morning? And her eyes naturally go up to her left, but he's talked about it. He gets into it about figuring out what your baseline is, but Daniel's eyes don't go up to his recall. They don't go up into his brain. They don't move, which suggests he's not going into recalling facts. He's completely into fabrication at this moment.
That eye movement, he does downright. They took their boots. Remember, eye movement for me is.
Oh, I know. We've covered it.
The guy on the team who's always
covered
saying,
it.
"Boom, pay attention to it."
Yeah.
And if you want me to give you a 5-minute session on what that looks like and how it works, happy to.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use you. I'm going to use you.
Okay.
Watch this.
Oh no.
So, tell me what you had for breakfast. Boom. See it? And tell me the last thing your daughter said to you before you start this podcast.
Oh my goodness.
Boom. There you go. You see what I mean?
Her eyes go up. As soon as she's being asked to recall, her eyes go up. His eyes don't go up.
Your
It's
baseline is
interesting.
probably to the left, and I think you were trying to remember what you had for breakfast. You're probably
Yeah.
trying to string stuff together because I think your baseline is left. So if I ask you a question, if you were to walk out, and if I'm right, we'll play it by ear because I have never baselined you. I don't do it to people I care about. But if I ask you this question, I'm right. Your eyes are going to go up left. Just let them do what they do. If you walk out your back door, which direction do you have to look to see the woodpile? There you go. That's what I'm after. You see now, and then here's the second question: if you walk to the woodpile and look to your right, what do you see? Now you're not sure.
No, I'm not sure.
Right?
No.
Yeah. So good. That's good. I think you're still a left baseliner. Anyway, so if I ask you, well, you got a favorite song?
Yeah. I can't think of it right now.
Okay. Well, yeah, favorite poetry, favorite any words that you like.
I've been
What's on your
listening.
arm? What's on your arm?
Oh, every day in every way, I'm getting better and better.
So you remember that. You don't have
Yeah,
to.
I don't have to look.
So what's cool about eye movement is what we do is we ask for a baseline. And the baseline's pretty simple. I'm going to ask you questions that force you to use your visual cortex.
We're listening to the expert right now. So we're listening to the expert right now. He says, no, you have to discover your baseline. Some people will look up to the left. Some people will look up to the right. He just finished saying that. But in this storyline, in Daniel's interview, he does neither. So no, that's not true that you have to go left. I'm listening to one of the world leading experts right now. And he says, no, that you need to find your baseline, which is what the exercise he was just doing with Sadie.
Right.
And there's lots of reasons people think this works. Some people think it don't. This is Bandler. This is Richard Bandler. I talked to him a while ago, by the way. I've asked him to do an interview, and I'll put that on a YouTube channel, even though I'm not doing a lot with my YouTube channel.
Well, it's been reported that they suspected that they had autistic issues, and we've seen Lily screaming and flailing her hands, and so I think it's more than just rumors, because the family has come out and said in their first statement they believe the kids to be autistic, although not tested for it yet. There is a belief there.
Uses your visual cortex, and so your eyes are going high in your head, meaning above your brow ridge, looking up, and you just did that either right or left. And we ask a question that we want the person to answer so we can figure out where they go, left or right. That's visual, up above the brow ridge.
Right.
Sound is usually between the brow ridge and the cheekbone, either left or right. And we ask a question for memory, like your favorite song, like your favorite sentence, whatever it is. So the person goes and looks left or right for their baseline, and then we know they're left or right. And then down to the right is emotion, down to the left is internal voice. We see him go to emotion when he's talking about what they were wearing. Don't know why. I want to poke and prod and try to figure out, understand it a little bit. If I were poking and prodding and asking questions, I would try to baseline him pretty quickly. But he's not really even accessing after the emotional part. He's just looking at you and saying, and they were red and blue, and because he knows what they were wearing. Likely,
Yeah.
he's not having to remember. If you almost every one of these people, the McCanns, anybody else, when you ask them what their kid was wearing, they have to remember.
Right.
That's why you usually know they're not. This is an odd one. This is another red flag.
I urge the public to come out if you have anything, come out as fast as possible and get it to any detachment or any police service that you have available to get to talk to. And Jack just absolutely loves bugs, dinosaurs, anything like that.
It's just funny, not funny, not funny, but it's true. It's sorry, it doesn't look very legitimate here. Sorry. I shouldn't laugh, but I needed the laugh. His response is priceless. His response is priceless. Sorry. His response is priceless.
Lily loves girly things, but she also loves doing everything with Jack bugs. They're like best friends.
This kid's on my radar.
He said loved in past tense there.
But even better.
Yeah. Yes.
There's no emotion, no tears, no anything else. There's some contempt.
Yeah.
Or disgust. I can't tell which. You'd have to go back and watch it. But early in, he's going to go to whatever police.
Any detachment or any police service that you have available.
Yeah.
He exposes his teeth. Either he's in contempt or, it's an exposing of canines, one or the other.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which. But if you go back, you can freeze it and find it.
Yes.
There's a whole lot of mismatched signaling coming from this guy.
Wow.
Looking you dead in the eyes when he's trying to access, and then the fake cry. And I mean,
yes.
just a whole lot. And then, loved. Yeah.
Yes. I noticed as
Beautiful
soon as
catch.
he broke away, he
It's
immediately
funny when you
checked to
look at
see
it now.
if his story was being bought. He was like,
Confirming glance.
Yeah.
It was almost like Phantom of the Opera or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that I had to show you because that's
oh my god.
It's
Sorry,
something.
Greg is hilarious.
He's red flag boy for sure.
Yeah.
And now remember, let's talk about dynamics of relationship.
Right.
It's entirely possible that something happened that she was not part of.
Right.
And that she was suspicious of but party to and guilty feelings for. And it's entirely possible they just feel guilty from the people being gone. But this guy has a ton of red flags.
Yeah.
My taste. And yours too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You probably got a ton more.
The big thing is that a lot of his stories are just very repetitive. He and this is not in this video specifically, but like in many of his videos, he repeats himself word for word. He goes like the story that he tells is exactly the same. It doesn't change at all. And it's like there's no
wild.
You can tell that he's retelling a story that he's thought of as opposed to reliving a memory, because I mean obviously when you go back to a memory it changes every time you go back to
Well,
it.
it's normal when you get much older, you've lived through something for a long time. Like if I tell you a story about the Middle East, it's not going to be identical, but it's going to be damn close, because
of course
I remember the parts that matter that people want to know and that kind of thing. And because it becomes rote, neural pathways, as you know, 2000 passes, it's there. And so a lot of the time what will happen is your story will stay really tight as you get older, because you've dressed it a few times for people's consumption. But not early.
No.
It's my most stressful moments in my life. Early, I would have a hard time putting the story together exactly the same way every time, because you're thinking, why did that happen? Why did that happen? Why did that happen?
Yeah.
And then you're trying to think of the most stressful thing that's ever happened to you in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's 10 years later, okay, you repeat the story pretty much the same way.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to sort it out, my opinion, one of the hardest things for human brains to do is to store information you have no box for.
Right.
I think what my opinion, this is just my opinion, I think what most people call PTSD is there's no place in their mechanism, in their schema, in their database to plug something in.
Yeah.
And so it never gets settled. It just rolls around in their head the rest of their life.
Wow.
I mean, I'll give you the first Gulf War. I went there. I was working at SEER school. I was doing violent physical things every day of my life. And when I went to war, it was war. I expected people to get killed and hurt. And it bothered me, of course, but there were places for that to go in my head.
Trees.
Wow.
On the other hand, guys who had never thought of any of that kind of stuff, we're not dealing with violent world or any of that kind of stuff, it was a lot harder for them. And they had no concept of Middle Eastern politics and how people treat each other and all of that kind of thing. So it was tougher for those guys than it was for those of us who had spent our time studying that part of the world.
Right.
And I think a lot of soldiers are not ready for the things they see. There's no mailbox to put them in, and therapy can help land it somewhere. That's what I think therapy does best, is help you sort. So if you don't have a place to put stuff in your head, it's going to be there rolling around. And it is the reason I ramble that long about what I'm talking about is because your brain is trying to normalize that stuff. It doesn't immediately go to this is the story.
Yeah.
We don't talk that way. We don't say,
No.
oh, they went out.
So I mean, if what he is saying, which he's one of the leading experts in the world, so I would agree that he knows what he's saying, then that might explain, interestingly enough, some of the inconsistencies in the stories, but that's just the language, not the body language, right?
They had on these shoes. They walked 20 yards, they disappeared.
Mhm.
That doesn't set well with an adult. The
No.
two children could vanish that easily.
Yeah, definitely not. It's not accurate, especially for a 6 and a 4-year-old. They just wouldn't you wouldn't see that happen. And I don't know, it's just everything about this is
That's adult. I agree with you 100%. That's an adult way of thinking.
Yeah.
I've had enough of your, excuse my language, I had enough of your shit. I'm going to put my backpack on and leave.
Yeah.
What 6-year-old does that? I've had enough
Yeah.
of you. Unless they've seen it from adults.
Yeah.
Then they may
that's true.
emulate that behavior.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's
Actually,
all kinds of
this
stuff here that makes it interesting.
Yeah, it is. This just made me think my son today put on a backpack and he's 9 and he walked down the street with his backpack on. He's leaving home. And so it just made me think of that. But he certainly didn't make it. Well, he just went down the street and came right back because he knows that he knows.
They're bears.
Yes. I feel like the 6-year-old and this 4-year-old were, I mean, if they had wandered off, they should have known better. They should have been taught better. If they're living in the middle of the woods, you should know what is at stake in the middle of the woods. So that's another big thing where, yeah, it just doesn't sit right. It seems very off.
Well, and for me, the pile of red flags is on him. And she's got some wilting, she's got some hiding time words, but nothing that screams, except for that forehead going away to concerned and losing the grief muscle when she starts to talk about grieving things closer to the end. That's the only thing. And there's some red flags in there for sure we talked about, but not like there's a lot of screaming stuff with this guy. Maybe it's because he's neurodivergent or something, but it's interesting.
You said they're flying in someone to do a polygraph test. Is that on you?
That's not just on me, but on everyone. That's what I asked for. I asked for that so early on, and there's not many places that do it in Canada. So
I just noticed his head shake slightly, like that's what I asked for, and then he got the kind of the no shake. Let's see if he addresses that. I listened to this when I was walking the other day, but I can't remember.
they're flying somebody in.
Why do you think you need to do that? Do you think they don't believe you?
I think their side of the family doesn't believe me, and I just want to clear it up for everyone. Clear it up for everyone, not just the people online making crazy accusations and everything else.
Well, a whole lot of downright there, if you notice, a whole lot of downright, but that could be because of the accusations. That could be because of a lot of other things. There's a whole lot of grief muscle here that we didn't see as much before.
Yeah.
Around the lie detector. Maybe he'll get Jim Smith.
I hope so. Oh my goodness.
Well,
I thought it was interesting because him pointing out the crazy accusations online really just is like it's making it about him and not about the kids. I thought that was interesting. What did you think of that?
Well, I will say they're not his kids. They're somebody else's kids. They're stepchildren. And some
Oh,
people
so he
can't
does
deal
know
with it.
that.
Yeah, my son was my stepson, and I loved him more than anything in the world. Never ever thought I would have kids. And then when we were, because I was 40 when I settled down. So for me, it was one of the best parts of my life. Some people don't feel that way about their spouse's children. So they don't have the connection. And how long have they been together?
2 years, I think, 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. A lot of times, if this guy doesn't have a real connection with those children, the grief around him will be more powerful than the grief around the children about all the accusations and that stuff. So I try to listen to, I try to advocate and give everybody an opportunity and say, what's possibly happening. That still doesn't mean that I trust this guy.
No.
So just because he's showing more grief around being polygraphed and accusations, not surprised.
Yeah.
And how old are they? 30-ish, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It's a really interesting study I read years ago. I'll have to find and quote it, but they show babies to men and women. All women's pupils dilate when they see babies. All young men's pupils are dependent whether they dilate or not. If they are pair bonded with a woman in there, and I don't know, they've tried this with gay men or any of that, but when they're pair bonded with a woman, their pupils dilate when they see babies. So there's something about relationship that changes things too. And young men typically are like, I grew up in a world where everybody was, I said this to somebody yesterday. I grew up in a world where everybody was fit, young, and had a long life ahead of them, except for combat. So most of my friends were between 25 and 35. The old guys were getting ready to retire by 38 and 40, right in there. So we had an artificial sense of what's normal. And young men typically don't think about things the same way young women do. You're better at paying attention to a lot of detail that young men don't. Even military guys, because we are focused on different kinds of things. And your brains notice details on a level that ours just simply don't. They're looking for different things. They're paying attention to the connection between things. And people will somebody watching this will be upset because I say your brains are designed for nurture and ours are not. They're just not. We can learn. Don't get me wrong. We can learn. But your brain constantly pays attention to things and looks at it 50 times. My brain goes, I got a plan and we're going to get it done.
Yeah.
It's the way our brains are wired. Now, that doesn't mean that either one of us is going to be better than the other in a skill set because of that. But it means that her story is going to be more, it is going to be a big sweeping, moving thing with big blocks. And that's what we're seeing. It's about the family. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Where she's talking about the kids and about what happened and what could be going on and the search. He's going, they're gone. They took their backpack and left. He's telling big stories that he came to tell.
Yeah.
And then he's also in this piece doing something that's all about how people feel about him.
Yeah.
How people, and it's not just me, it's everybody. I'm going to have everybody.
Yeah.
If Mark were here, Mark would say, everybody in Nova Scotia is getting autographed. So Mark reads into those big disclaimers. He's like, no, they can't disclaim. They can't polygraph everybody. I might be there. What are they going to polygraph me? So he's talking in big sweeping terms that he's trying to fix the problem, all this kind of stuff. That again makes you go, why do you want everybody polygraphed? Who was at your house? That might be who I would start with. Who was there yesterday, the day before?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think again, I feel like a lot of what these people do is they really just try to redirect the attention off of them. That's kind of the impression that I'm getting.
Well, no, I agree with you here. When he does that broadening of the possible, this is as Chase would, what does he always say? Something about introducing vagueness or introducing ambiguity.
Yeah.
So, I interrogated prisoners for 20 years. Prisoners try to avoid answering questions.
Right.
It's what they do best because they got all the time in the world on their hands. This feels a lot like, everybody. Now we're getting to big terms. We're getting to big things where everybody's possibly a suspect.
Yeah.
Because if everybody's a suspect, then I'm less likely to be the guy. So
right.
You see it. I agree with you there.
Hmm.
Good call.
Thank you.
You mentioned last time we chatted that you'd offered to do a polygraph test.
That is correct.
Has that already happened?
That has happened.
Right. And did you get results from that yet?
I do have results, and I don't know if I can share those results, but they were good in my favor. We'll say that. Trust the RCMP word, and I mean, you don't have to trust my word, but I'm the only one doing media for Jack and Lily, trying to keep the story alive and get them found.
Two things right off. And remember, this is the first time I've watched this.
Yeah.
Moral high ground and rising up on those feet and leaning in. So people will say rising on your feet is a gravity-defying act. It's also an adapter. At the end of the day, energy's got to go somewhere. And he's taking moral high ground. Look, it's me. I'm the only person. Did you see any illustrators?
Mm-mm.
Something missing.
Wow.
What do you have? Because you watched this before. You probably have a whole lot of stuff to.
Well, I didn't know. I'm so torn on this because I was just thinking of like the implications of if he was not telling the truth there versus, I mean, but it's also just like a very vague answer that he's given. He doesn't straight up say yes or no.
I don't think this guy might be quite capable of giving good direct. Because communication styles come and go with people, and this is the reason I'm always funny about using tense, because people change tenses casually. Not like loved. That's a different story.
Yeah.
But people change tenses casually. I'm from South Georgia, and people there talk in multiple tenses in the same sentence sometimes.
Right.
It's just like, and it has to do with education, with colloquial speech patterns. I mean, you live in the woods, some of your neighbors have great speech patterns.
Yeah.
You can't understand them. It's just the nature of the people. So
Yeah.
I'm careful with all of that. The movement, and look, this is the cool part of what we do. If I were going back and analyzing these guys, I'd go back through with a fine-tooth comb. But what we can say, and what I always said as an interrogator, is, you just got my attention. Now I'll dig in. I may say you didn't do anything wrong when I'm done, but this guy would really not like the level of attention I would give him because of a handful of things. And if he thinks people think he's done something wrong, ding, 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 red flag, red flag, red flag. It doesn't mean you did anything, but it does mean you've given us reason to be suspicious. And that's enough, because they're babies. These are children. You shouldn't be angry when people are trying to help you. You should be angry if they're accusing you. And that, that we expect that. We should expect the guy to be a little more agitated if he's being accused of killing his stepchildren or doing something to spare his stepchildren. You would think he'd be pretty adamant and pretty angry.
Yeah.
So I see energy movement. I see all that. I don't see a lot of, I didn't do anything. I don't see a lot of illustrators. I don't see a lot of denial or emphatic behavior, chin thrusts, and those kinds of things, defiance.
Yeah.
We also don't know anything about him.
Right.
Has he been in jail? Has he been, so there's a ton of stuff to learn.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknowns.
Really good videos, Sadie.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching.
Okay, I'm going to just quickly show you. I'm going to quickly show you his background. And then I'm going to go to the map really quickly. And then I have a couple other videos on Jack and Lily. But Greg Hartley. Body language. I just want you to know his background here. So you can see for yourself why I trust him. I mean, I love the panel. I love him. I would say he and Chase are my favorites. But they all are incredibly knowledgeable. Yeah, 2 trees. So, and then we're going to go to the map. I did find other buildings on Google Earth behind the Black Barn. But I just Googled, excuse me, as you can see, Greg Hartley, body language expert. It says Greg Hartley is a renowned American body language expert, human behavior consultant, and a former U.S. Army interrogator and interrogation instructor. He is widely recognized for his expertise in reading and interpreting nonverbal communication and has applied his skills in military, law enforcement, corporate and media contexts. His expertise, military background, Hartley's expertise began in the U.S. military, where he served as an Arabic-speaking interrogator, including deployment during Operations Desert Storm. He also trained special operations soldiers in resistance to interrogation and worked as an anti-terror and principal protection instructor. He received the prestigious Knowlton Award for his significant contributions to the Army intelligence, media, and television. He is a frequent media commentator on body language and behavior, appearing on major networks, NPR, and various cable television channels. He provides analysis on the behavior of politicians, celebrities, and individuals involved in high-profile cases. The behavior panel is Hartley's one of the 4 world-leading experts who make up the behavior panel. This group analyzes public appearances and interviews of newsmakers sharing their insights on human behavior. Consulting and corporate world. Since leaving the military, Hartley has translated his skills to the business world, advising executives, attorneys, and human resource professionals on mastering and reading body language to prevent deception and improve communication. He's the author and has co-authored 10 books on body language and human behavior with Marian Carinch, including The Art of Body Talk, How to Decode Gestures, Mannerisms, and Other Nonverbal Messages, and the Body Language Handbook, How to Read Everyone's Hidden Thoughts and Intentions. So I would say I know. So yeah, he's pretty adequately, he's pretty adequately trained and expert enough to do this. So let's just look at Google Earth on this barn. I tried to look it up earlier on Google or on Google Maps, but I couldn't get it. But on Google Earth, I can see this black barn now. And it does have the main barn, and you can see this barn, and you can see this barn behind it. And it looks like, I don't know if this is the barrel they were talking about, but there's old cars. So there are, in this old Google Earth video, or, from the time, whatever this was captured, there are things behind this building, right? So there are things. So I don't really know what that means at this point, but it looks like there's also like a pit over here behind this one barn. like a bunch of gravel, if you will. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is, but it doesn't matter. But I just wanted you to see, okay? This is where the blanket was found, right? Somewhere in here, up in here. Wong lives in one of these houses here. And Jack and Lily's home, relative to the Black Barn, is right here. This is Jack and Lily's home. You can see right here up in the top here, very top, you can see. And this is the next neighbor, the Black Barn, right on the corner, right by the train track. And yeah. Okay, so hopefully that was a little bit helpful. So let's get into the next video I have for Jack and Lily. This is from Hidden in the Fog. I haven't listened to this whole thing. This is like this whole missing doll thing, I guess, out of the mouth of Daniel or something. I don't know how they discovered that there was a missing doll that was not first reported by Daniel or Malaya. I'm really not sure, but let's listen in.
It was recently reported out in social media that there was a doll that went missing when Lily Sullivan went missing with her brother Jack on May the 2nd. This doll was identified as from the Monster High series. This was the photo that had been circulating on social media. There was even comments by all sorts of people saying that this was confirmed by the RCMP. In fact, I received this information via email. Somebody with all good intentions, believing that they were providing me with information, sent me the photo. When I asked about it, they said, oh, it's been confirmed by the RCMP. The RCMP has absolutely not confirmed that this doll is missing, that this doll was Lily's, that Lily is missing a doll, that Lily had a doll. They're confirming nothing about a doll. So here's the thing about this. The question comes, is this doll M's? Here's the thing.
Okay, so she's showing an email that she received. Hey, Susan, to her, November 24th.
They're confirming nothing about a doll. So here's the thing about this. The question comes, is this doll evidence or not? Somewhat like the pink blanket. If you recall back, and we're talking, of course, about the Jack and Lily Sullivan case, when these two young children disappeared seemingly from their home on Gairloch Road in Lansdowne, Nova Scotia, reported missing by their mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, on May the 2nd. There was a pink blanket that was located a very short distance away on a tree. Initially, the RCMP told media they would not discuss the pink blanket. They later confirmed that they believed that the pink blanket had in fact been planted. Is this doll somewhat like the pink blanket in that they will not confirm that there even was a doll? And will they maybe later, after the fact that this evidence has been compromised?
I mean, Lily very well may have a picture, and of her holding the doll, but all that she's saying here is that the RCMP have not been able to confirm that there was a doll. I'm just going to go back to, I'm just going to look at the timestamp of where we're at now and look at the picture of the email that she sends us. And it says, we were not able to confirm that Lily had a doll with her when she went missing. So, I mean, she might have had the doll, but did she have it with her when she went missing? And I mean, we can see it right here. They're not able to confirm that. So I don't know. I don't know. But they're not confirming she had
Gus,
it.
the pink blanket. They later confirmed that they believed that the pink blanket had in fact been planted.
Mm-hmm.
Is this doll somewhat like the pink blanket in that they will not confirm that there even was a doll? And will they maybe later, after the fact that this evidence has been compromised, admit that there was a doll? We don't know. That, who knows?
Yeah,
They
we're
may
going to pull it
never
up. We're going to pull it
mention
up.
anything about a doll. If, in fact, there was a doll that family has realized has been missing since Lily's been missing, therefore makes the assumption that Lily
We're going
has
to
the
pull it
doll
up.
with her. That could be key evidence, if ever found, in what direction the children went. And I don't know where this information originated from. If the original source is reliable, it was not very bright to release it. And the reason is that Monster High dolls are very popular. In fact, you may still be able to get one of these dolls in a place like Walmart. And even if you can't get one of these dolls, many, many, many children will have these dolls. When hundreds, if not thousands of people know that this doll is possibly missing, in this case, there are a lot of people who want to become important. They want to insert themselves into the investigation directly. They may very well call up and say, I found a doll. They may very well plant the doll so that it can be easily found if they, in fact, were able to get their hands on one. So what I'm saying is this. If there is such a doll and it is missing, it could have been very important holdback information for the police. What I mean by that is that if nobody knew about the doll, if the information about the doll had never been released, if that doll had been found by a hiker, a dog walker, that could have been crucial to this case. But now, it doesn't mean a thing. So many people now know about this doll, it's not valuable evidence anymore. If you would like to stay up to date.
I mean, she makes a good point. But let's listen into Belinda's. I meant to show this. So thank you for the reminder. Let's listen to Belinda's interview, the most recent interview that she gave that Hunter put up. Let's listen in. My heart goes out to Belinda here. Truly, I don't know how she does it. It's got to be gut-wrenching on a daily.
Full of items that just by a picture alone being shown to the mother to see if it was recognizable to her, it did bother me. I will say that, well, to me, in my view, I would have just picked it up just in case. I wouldn't go by it's so hard to say it without just outright pointing fingers, but to me, there were adults on that property where 2 kids went missing. So why are we depending on those adults to be the ones to determine whether something is important?
Belinda Gray, and what's your connection to this story?
Well, my name's Belinda Gray, and I am Lily and Jack Sullivan's grandmother on the biological father's side.
And the family tree and the connections are all important in this. So you are Jack and Lily's biological father's mother. They're
Code Sullivan's mother, yes.
Before we start, can you just talk a little bit about what it means to you to have the community rallying behind all the families and everyone involved in this? Like, how important has it been for you to see people interested in finding Jack and Lily?
It's extremely important. Right now, the only thing we actually have is the public. that it's so hard when you have to rely on just updates from the RCMP, and they're so few and far between. But the more we put their names out there, more and more people are coming forward. Everybody's talking about them, and it's keeping pressure to keep this going till we get.
Yeah, everybody, if you empathize with Belinda, please do the likey things. That really helps this video get out with their faces. There's 71 of you here. Please, everybody, hit the like button and help support Belinda's cause for keeping their names out there, because as you just saw in the text, she's not finding a lot of people that are continuing to report on it.
Answers.
And no, the dynamics within the family must make it unusual in terms of your access to information. Like, have you been able to actually sit with investigators and ask questions yourself?
No, I have not.
No.
It's really sad. I had no idea. I had no idea that really grandparents, unless you go to court and fight for those rights, that grandparents don't have many rights.
And especially, like, as I said, like, given the
sad.
family dynamics and the fact that that your son hasn't been in the children's lives for the last several years, that would make it even more difficult. But that doesn't change the fact that you're their grandmother and you have a relationship and a history with them. Can you maybe talk just a little bit about your time with Jack and Lily, and and what life was like when they were a bigger part of yours?
We had a very close relationship. We were at the hospital when Lily was born. We got to hold her. We were at the hospital when Jack was born. And we had a good, close relationship. It remained close.
So sad.
For almost the whole first year after Malaya and my son split up, that we still maintained a close relationship. And then it started to pewter off quietly, and I knew she wanted to move on with her life, and I was all for that. I felt she deserved to be happy. But I didn't think it was going to take the turn that it did, that we were going to be completely shut off. I thought once she was settled for a bit that it would pick back up again, but I wanted to give her that space.
And what you're referring to is when her and your son Cody split up, from that point on, my understanding was you still did see the children on occasion, or is that not right? Like,
No, she used to come. She used to bring the kids every couple of weeks for a visit.
With you or with Cody or both?
I want to just highlight here that this is a pattern that we're seeing in true crime cases. The distancing of the kids from the rest of the family. Yeah, we have to stay on this, absolutely. But this is a pattern where the kids start to be distanced from the family in these dysfunctional families. It's a pattern. We saw it in the Harrow case. We see with challenges with Seth and Sebastian and them wanting to have him live with Seth. We see it over and over again. There's distancing that seems to happen. Melody Buzzard from the families. So that seems to me a consistent red flag that's concerning.
No, with me and my partner and other relatives that I might have here at the time. No, Cody was not living here at the time. So Cody did not play a part in their lives at all after the breakup.
But there was still an effort to maintain the relationship with their grandmother, Belinda, of course. And when did that change? Like, when did you start to see it turn to,
And she told me she had met Daniel, and she stated what a great guy he was, that he was divorced, he had two children, and she felt that this was the one that she was pretty happy. So we were thrilled for her. And I'm assuming it was up until 6 months after she was with him. She still come for visits, but they weren't as frequent. And she was telling us that he was uncomfortable with her coming here.
Okay.
So we invited him to come. He just never did. So then when she stopped coming, we call her and say, look, we come to the grandmother's, to Patty's place. And if that works better, then that's what we'll do. So then we started visiting at Patty's place.
And Patty's Malaya's mom.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, no, Patty is Malaya's grandmother.
Malaya's great. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that must be so hard. I just I know I think I've said this to you before in a conversation we had, but for me, like the relationship with a grandparent is like such a special one. Growing up myself, my grandmother and grandfather, had a huge part in raising me. So I've always saw like the relationship with a grandparent as a sacred one. And I feel like there's no one in the world who loves someone the way their grandparents love them, even more so than parents. But
It is such a beautiful feeling that it's really hard to describe, because as a parent, you're worried about raising your kids. You're worried about teaching them the right and wrongs. And there's that steady pressure until they get out on their own.
yeah,
As a grandparent, you just feel the love, just the love.
absolutely. Now, the reason we're connecting today is I wanted to ask you a few questions about what I'm referring to as the civilian search that
So sorry.
Yes.
yeah, standing for
sorry,
Please
Anne.
Bring Me Home. And they did a ground search in Lansdowne Station for Jack and Lily, and you took part in it. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about it. So first off, when you heard that there was a civil, like this volunteer organization conducting a search as opposed to search and rescue or the RCMP or whatnot, what was your initial thoughts hearing that this was going to be happening?
I had contacted PBMH back in, I think it was July, when I had first heard about them. And I went on their website, and you fill out a form, you explain the whole situation, and I waited for them to get back to me. It wasn't until, I believe, the end of August, I reached out again to them. And that time they did respond and stated that they were interested and that they would be in touch. And then I was in touch with the person that was leading that investigation at the time, was Chrissy. She's their investigator. So I did an intake with her describing everything from my perspective, what I knew. So Malaya's family was on board with the PBMH group too. So then it was decided that they would do a search.
Okay. So before.
So Malaya's family was also on board with the Please Bring Me Home search group, which we said before here. Not the Martells, but Malaya's family.
Right now, I didn't realize it was you that actually put all of this in motion.
Yes, yes.
And so what they ended up doing was first they put a call out for interest saying, if anyone wants to get involved in this search, sign up here and here's when we're going to do it. We're going to show up. You were one of the people that went on the search. So what was it actually like? Like, what was the turnout? What did you do? Maybe talk us through the day of searching for Jack and Lily.
Okay, we had about anywhere between 27 to 30 searchers. They were in teams of 6. Now, I was not there to be on those search teams because I knew my knees would not allow me to go through the woods.
Of course.
So I was there for the updates, if anything was found, for the moral support. I had family searchers there also. And there was a couple of places that my sister and I were also interested in driving to check out.
Okay. Yeah. And so the 27 to 30-ish people that showed up, like, who were these people? Were they just community members, or was it members of the families? Like, who on average, or like in general, who was
I
there?
would say, on general, almost half of the search team was family members. The few from my side and the remainder from Malaya's side.
Okay.
The rest were volunteers. We had volunteers that come from PEI, from New Brunswick.
Wow.
From the South Shore.
And I'm so sorry about that. If you ever want to talk about it a little bit more, let me know.
And then Nick's team itself from Ontario, and who he brought with him.
And Nick is the leader of the organization. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you aware of any kind of discoveries or any kind of interesting or amazing moments or anything you can share like that during the search? Like, were there any like exciting points of it?
Here's this 2 ram story again, which is joke, just an absolute joke.
That you thought like, wow.
There were a few items that were found. It's been kind of put out. There was another item that was found. My sister and I had found it, and that one we're not discussing because we don't know if it's relevant yet with the police. That is still being considered if it plays a part in anything. So we're not putting that information out there about that item. The stuff that was found by Nick's teams, because there was, like I said, there were 6 teams, and 2 or 3 of those teams had found certain items.
And those items were then shared with investigators, with the RCMP.
Yes.
And they did respond, the RCMP, with saying that the stuff that was found they didn't believe it to be.
Were not of interest, yes.
Yeah. And how did that make you feel? Like, were you?
I was disappointed. There were a couple of items that just by a picture alone being shown to the mother to see if it was recognizable to her. It did bother me. I will say that, well, to me, in my view, I would have just picked it up just in case. I wouldn't go by, not, it's so hard to say it without just outright pointing fingers, but to me, there were adults on that property where 2 kids went missing. So why are we depending on those adults to be the ones to determine whether something is important?
That's a really good point.
Yeah, because they should be the prime suspects since the kids were in their care at the time they went missing. And I'm so sorry to hear this. I really am sorry to hear this. If you want to come up on the chat with us a little bit more about this on another day, let me know. If you're interested, let me know.
In the end, as far as moving the investigation forward, it didn't seem like, or it doesn't seem like this search was what was going to break the case open. But yourself, as someone who's watching closely of every twist and turn in this, how does it feel at this point now? Like, do you feel like this is going to go on forever?
It is feeling like that. It's been feeling like that for a while, but you still hope that any little search that anybody does, that maybe they can find something that would help to open this up more, to give us more answers. So I am still, I'm hoping TBMH will come back out again. They don't plan on coming till spring. So I'm hoping the hunters that are out there, any of the ATV trails that the ATV people, the clubs and that use, I'm hoping everybody will just kind of keep their eyes open and pay attention to anything that stands out. Because I think the answers are there. We just need to find them.
One thing I've noticed, just as someone watching this story from the outside, is in the early days, weeks, and even months, there was a lot more like mainstream news coverage. There was like, it seemed like every couple of days there was something new out, but it really seems like it's slowed down over the last month or so. Luckily, what this search did was really brought Jack and Lily's names and faces back in the news. But aside from that, it's been a lot more quiet. Does that scare you as someone so close to this, like to go weeks without even news coverage?
Scare is not even the word to describe it, because you just don't want it to go quiet. I want everybody to keep talking about this, to keep wondering, to keep asking questions. I want more volunteers that are willing to go out on their own or join a group and get together and look, let's
I mean, I was willing to go out, and I have a girlfriend who said that I can stay with her, but then we had the whole don't walk in the forest thing, and then I got the job. And not only that, October 15th was like hunting season. You don't want to go in the bushes out there in hunting season, and we are still in hunting season. And then the snow is going to become an issue. Plus, we've got the family behaving the way they behaved. I don't know that it's safe for anybody to go out on their own. I truly don't think it is.
Let's do something for a weekend. Let's just go out and walk some trails, because it's a big area and it's hard for anybody to cover because the area is so big. And I would like to see more searches taking place outside of the original search area.
Farther out, yeah. Bless her soul. Bless her soul. I feel so bad for her. I really do. I don't, again, I really don't know. It is. I know. It feels, yeah. I'm just we're gonna listen to this really quick. This is Mike MX.
Okay, we'll go for a little walk.
I like his thinking.
And think about and concentrate on Jack and Lily. And I've been doing a bit of research, and some of that research is on the YouTube, as it happens. Watching a little bit of the Drunk Turkey show.
Thanks, Tom.
From yesterday. And there's a few things that just keep cropping up. There's a few things that aren't true. It keeps on getting broadcasted there that the RCMP disputed Brad Wong and Justin Smith's witness testimony.
I don't know that channel, Tom.
Did not dispute their testimony.
So I will do that on another day if I can remember. But yeah, I believe you. But I'm not going to do it right now.
He did not dispute their testimony. They just don't have CCTV footage to back it up. If they had CCTV footage to back it up, someone would be in cuffs already. Yeah, about someone's alleged
And that's true.
substance abuse around the time
I
of
mean,
the children.
what he's saying is true. The RCMP did not come out and say that there was no car traveling, as the neighbors reported, back and forth the night before. What they said is they cannot prove that with any footage to be true. So they are still relying on the neighbor's testimony because they cannot get video footage to prove it to be true.
That's come into question again. And as a lot of people have worked it out already, it's not really a question. You know what I mean? The indicators are there. And Daniel's vagueness about Thursday night, he won't talk about Thursday night. Okay, now we're coming into Daniel is alleging abuse of the children by Malaya. Now, this is new to me anyway. As in, this is coming from DT, from Daniel. So this is third-hand information. Tripping Jack up, pushing him down has been alleged.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the first I've heard of this alleged abuse.
The new
by
alleged
Malaya
abuse,
on
yes.
any of the children. This is interesting, and I'm wondering, will Malaya just let that sit, or will she come out? It would be good if she came out and disputed that and started talking out into the public about what really happened. Very few people is buying the stories. The stories don't add up. None of the narratives make sense. They're full of plot holes. There's lies in there. Anyway, two little people. They're still out there somewhere. And they're probably not very far. Only a few miles. Have to be there somewhere. They haven't just gone into the ether. They haven't vaporized. Have to be there somewhere. Yeah. I'm gonna hope that Malaya comes out, starts disputing Daniel's allegations, and could fire it all off, and we could start to get some truth.
I don't think Malaya's is as much as he's wishing for it. I really don't think Malaya's coming out to say anything else ever again, unless there's a resolution
It will
here.
be open
Until there's a
find the
resolution.
children, bring closure, and get justice. I'll leave it there.
Okay, we've got one more here. Oh man, this case is sad, sad, sad. Deceptive detective. I think that whatever happens to these children was motivated to hide something kind of abuse happening. If these children were moving somewhere, it would be different. Discovered. Yeah, I agree. Let's listen into Deceptive Detective's analysis of the interview DT did of Daniel.
Are you confident in where the investigation is going?
It's a little bit different from my point of view versus, the public eye. But right now I'm fairly happy with what they're doing. I mean, they're pulling out all the stops. I mean, cadaver dogs took a long, or human remains dogs took a long time to come in, but I mean, everything's falling into place like it should. It's just the amount of time that's passed. It's just, for some people, not fast enough.
That's Daniel Martell, and I think he knows what happened to his missing stepkids. And it's not just because he said everything's falling into place while they're still missing. So in today's video, let's watch his recent interview on the Drunk Turkey Show and count all the lies. I've only seen part of this because I wanted to react to it with all of you. So let's dive in.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the DT Show. We got an excellent show planned out for you guys tonight. Tonight, I'll be interviewing Daniel Martell, the stepfather for Jack and Lily Sullivan, the two missing young children out in Nova Scotia in Canada.
Where's the damn file? What happened? Dang. Sorry, everybody. Why is it? It just disappeared. Wild. What's
And
going
here
on
it
with
is.
YouTube here?
Everybody, welcome to the show.
Sorry,
Daniel
everybody.
Martell,
So
the
weird.
stepfather for Lily and Jack. Welcome, Daniel. How are you doing, my man? How's it going?
I'm still staying strong there, Daniel. I mean, every day is a new day.
Before we get too deep, I just want to thank Drunk Turkey for doing this interview and giving me permission to react to it. I'll link his channel down below. I've personally asked Daniel multiple times for an interview, but he's never accepted. And to be fair, I think the reason why is pretty simple. My name is Deception Detective, and he's a liar. In today's video, I'll point out plenty of examples of it. But just in case you're new here, just because I think someone's a liar, it doesn't mean I think they're a murderer. If you binge watch my entire series about this case, you'll already know what I think happened. If not, don't worry. They're about to get into that, and I'll explain it the next time I pause.
Welcome to the show, Daniel Martell, the stepfather for Lily and Jack. Welcome, Daniel. How are you doing, my man? How's it going?
I'm still staying strong there, Daniel. I mean, every day is a new day.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I know there's been some activity recently. There's been some dogs in the area. They've been doing some searches. I know that that has been on your property. They looked at your property. So I know that there's still movement in the case. Right now, are you confident in where the investigation is going?
It's a little bit different from my point of view versus, you know, the public eye. But right now, I'm fairly happy with what they're doing. I mean, they're pulling out all the stops. I mean, cadaver dogs took a long, or human remains dogs took a long time to come in, but I mean, everything's falling into place like it should.
He still has a
amount of
smile
time
on his face. It bothers me that as he's talking about these missing kids, he's got like he's smiling. It bothers me so much. It's like he's happy that he has gotten away with it so far. It bothers me.
For some people, it's not fast enough.
Yeah, no, I understand. You know, it's
For
a
people,
it's a
not
sad
for you though,
situation.
Daniel.
You know, Jack
Not
and
for
Lily went
you.
missing in May. You know, I couldn't imagine how you guys were feeling in the moment of having kids missing, and then somewhat like the entire world turning against you. How has that been for you guys? Has it kind of calmed down? Has things gotten worse here recently?
No, Daniel, it never calms down. Some of those Facebook groups, they're absolutely relentless every day.
At the time of this interview, Daniel's kids had been missing for months. They disappeared in May 2025. But notice how he's not impatient about it. The police are moving too slow for other people, presumably you and I. And this inappropriate level of patience and kindness to the police, as well as the general public, notice how he's frustrated that even those pesky Facebook groups just aren't his biggest fans, is known as ingratiation. It's such a reliable indicator of someone trying to get away with something that it's a card in the deception deck. And what do I think Daniel's trying to get away with? Well, here's my theory from one of my earlier videos in this series. If you've binged all my videos about this case, you'll know I've thought since day one that Lily and Jack probably suffered an accident and that their mom and her boyfriend, Daniel Martell, covered it up because of some sort of tentative guilt. For instance, because of the nature of the accident, they didn't report it because they knew that they would get in trouble for criminal neglect.
Welcome in, Robin. I don't recognize your name. If you're new here or you've just been in the bushes, welcome in. Same with Tom. My investigation team already caught people in YouTube chats lying about who they are and how they are connected to this case. Far to say, we are a bit peeved. Info will be forwarded to my boss, to LE. Who they are and how they are connected to this case. So do you feel like sharing any more than that, Tom?
Drug possession, or maybe even signs of abuse on the kids' bodies if they reported it.
Thank
there
you,
were
Robin.
multiple opportunities for an accident to befall these little kids. The trailer was cluttered, there were holes in the floor, There was probably exposed wood and nails everywhere. But even more disturbing is this description of Jack as being smaller than his peers, because that could be a result of malnutrition, which is a consequence of neglect. But even if it's not, and Jack was just small for his age, and even if the trailer itself wasn't as decrepit as it's described, that still wouldn't explain their mother.
So I'm not clear why you're bringing that up now, Tom. We're talking about a lawyer investigating Daniel's language. So I'm not sure what that has to do with this. Do you care to elaborate? Because you're interrupting a stream to bring something into the conversation that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Welcome in, Faye. Nice to see you. Just waiting, Tom, because I have a feeling I know who you are. Welcome in, sweetie. Welcome in.
Malea's reticence in her one interview she did the day they were reported missing, or her silence ever since. As I often say on the channel, pleading the fifth in a missing child case is basically as good as a confession. And that's because unlike any...
Hang on, are you trying to suggest that deceptive detective is not legitimate, Tom? Oh, it might be shared to deceptive detective if you could verify if he's legit. Well, he's a lawyer trained in statement analysis. So I doubt this guy's a liar. Sorry, I'm not clear. No way what? No way what? We're going to keep listening.
The other sort of crime, if you plead the fifth when your kid is out there missing, you're hurting your own interests. Don't you want to find your kid? Speaking up is worth the risk if you're innocent. But if you're guilty, your lawyer will definitely tell you not to speak up because there's no upside. So that's the gist of my theory. A death by accident or neglect, even with a cover-up, is still infinitely more likely than something like a first-degree murder or a stranger abduction. And as I pointed out in that video, there were plenty of opportunities for a fatal accident on that property, as well as signs of potential neglect, some of which are coming up now.
So, let's back up. Let's go and start from the beginning. The kids missed school before their disappearance. A lot of people were looking at that in a suspicious manner. I know that they were seen on camera the day before they disappeared. So the fact that they were missing, as weird as it was, as far as the timing goes, doesn't necessarily mean something nefarious happened. But tell us, why weren't they in class?
Well, I know Wednesday they had what they call a PE day, which is kind of like an in-service. And so no children attended the school that day. And then on Thursday, Lily had a cough. And I really didn't know if Malaya was going to keep them home for Friday, but, kind of turns out that she did. And when I woke up that morning, I wasn't expecting the kids to be home. I seen Lily poke her head into the room a couple times that morning.
Yeah.
And she didn't have a cough. She wasn't sick, not like the day before. So, I wouldn't really have kept them home because they were kept home a lot because they were sick a lot during the school year. But
allergies, or is this like
no, they just had low immune systems, Daniel.
Okay.
I mean, for the first, I don't know, 11 weeks of school, they were sick each week. Not they brought home COVID and stuff like that. Well, but you can't expect a kid to be perfectly healthy when they're hanging out with other children, right?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And so it sounds like she was pretty bad the day before she went missing on Thursday.
Yeah, she did have a cough, but I was never expecting Malaya to keep them home for both days.
And so
Vicky, do you think it's just a coincidence that there were cars that were heard from the neighbors going back and forth that night? If you think that they didn't make it home, what do you think those cars were doing? Do you think they didn't make it home and then those cars were covering it up? It's an interesting point. I mean, maybe they didn't make it home.
That was Malaya's decision then to keep.
Yeah, of course. She woke up that morning on the morning of the disappearance and marked Jack and Lily both as absent at 6:17 and 6:18 a.m.
It's actually shocking just how casually Daniel talks about textbook signs of neglect, like the kids being so sick they had to miss a day of school every week for 11 weeks, or saying that Lily's cough was so bad that they kept her home from school for 2 days, yet they never took her to a doctor. But what really stood out to me was his offhand comment that he and Malaya don't coordinate about where the kids will be for the day. Malaya unilaterally decided to keep both kids home from school that day. who's going to watch them? Just to be clear, I don't think any of that actually happened. I think he and Malaya scripted it to alibi each other. But my point is, even if he were telling the truth, this story alone would be enough to raise serious concerns about neglect. And why do I think they're lying? Well, all the inconsistencies. For example, Malaya said that she's the one who woke up and asked Daniel where the kids are. He said he's the one who woke up and asked her. But there's even interpersonal inconsistencies between Daniel's different interviews. For example, he told Drunk Turkey he didn't know Lily would be kept home that day, but he also said that he wasn't totally asleep, he knew everything that was going on, and that Malaya called the school to mark the kids absent. So how did he not know the kids were going to be home? Here's a couple more gaping plot holes in their story from my video, He Slipped Up.
Malaya and baby were asleep. Lily came in multiple times. I was not in deep sleep by any means. And then about 20 minutes passed. And then when I woke up, Malaya was right beside me. She was still asleep. And I said, I don't hear Lily and Jack. I ran up in the woods to the kids. They have cabins up in the woods, which only took me like 30 seconds. I came right back down. She was on the phone with the RCMP.
There are a ton of problems with this story, so let's go through them one by one. First, as I already pointed out, it directly contradicts Malaya's version of events, which is typical of co-conspirators reciting a scripted story. The made-up stuff just doesn't stick as well in the brain as a real memory. Second, it's extremely vague, especially when it comes down to the timing of everything. For instance, he said that Lily came into the room multiple times, and then suddenly he's saying 20 minutes later he woke up. He woke up 20 minutes after what exactly? Third, the story just isn't reasonable, which is one of the criteria from the Assessing Stories card in my deception deck. If his story is true, Malaya called the police before they'd even checked the backyard to see if the kids were out there. Remember, he said that they noticed the kids were being quiet. He immediately went outside for 30 seconds, and when he came back, she was already calling the police. Finally, the tone of the story itself is off, another criteria from my Assessing Stories card. And by that, I mean Daniel's main objective here is to alibi Malaya. He made a point of telling us that he wasn't totally asleep, and that she was definitely sleeping next to him when he woke up, and she couldn't have crept off. But if his story is true...
Okay, well, the thing that bothers me about this, if Lily, they had a PD day, right? A PA day, we call it a PD day, or PA day, Professional Activity Day in Canada. If they had that on the Wednesday, which we heard, then they kept Lily home for a cough on Thursday. Why didn't one of them stay home to nurture and care for Lily, who was sick, instead of them both taking both kids out on errands? Because if a child is sick with a cough, they might most likely don't want to travel long distances in the country in a car. And so that also to me seems inconsistent with them being sick or Lily being sick. Because if there's two of you, why do you need to both leave? Why can't Daniel have taken Jack to do the errands while Malaya or vice versa stayed home with Lily, who wasn't feeling well? It just... That's what I think most parents who legitimately have a sick child at home, I think most parents would not want to drag that child out because she wouldn't feel well enough to go out, right? It just, the whole story is interesting.
% sure about that. And what about these contradictions? Is he not concerned that her story doesn't match his? He doesn't even seem to be concerned that a kidnapper might have taken the kids or the kid's biological dad who's still out there somewhere. His sole objective, it seems, is to alibi himself and Malaya. As I always say on the channel, lying is hard enough. Add in two people who have to align their stories and it becomes almost impossible. All right, let's keep watching because the best or the worst is yet to come.
And so the last time that they're seen is on camera the day before. What happened the night after they're seen on camera? What was that night like?
The night they were seen on camera, they were seen on Thursday. They were seen at Dollarama. And then we went to Acropole. You know, we got some food and then brought it home. When we got home, it was a little bit before 4 o'clock, and I went outside and helped mom work on the fence. Took me a little while to find all my tools and stuff, but then, you know, after I got my drill and everything else, and I helped mom work on the fence for quite a few hours until it was just coming on to dark. And then after it was dark, I came back inside. What I remember, the kids were sleeping, but when you're looking back in time, Daniel, it's hard to, you know, kind of remember everything and get a feeling for how the night really was, because it just seemed like a normal night, right? When I came inside, I thought the kids were sleeping, and I could have swore they were sleeping, but it says in the documents that she had them up till 9 or 10 at night. I don't remember them being up that late, so I'll tell you that.
Were you looking at your phone or your watch at what time it was every
Yeah,
time?
I mean, I got a watch on my arm the whole time, and I never look at it, man. I'm always grabbing for my phone.
You know, it's not uncommon unless you're like something specifically happens and you look at the time at that specific time. You know, I know a lot of people are looking at, you know, certain times where, you know, I think they were asleep by 9:30 and then documents say 10. And like, oh my God, there's 30 minutes here that
yeah.
it's a little bit of a wild expectation for people to expect to remember things, especially on, like you mentioned, on a night that was pretty normal. But that night, what time did you go to bed?
I went to bed actually a lot later than Malaya did, I think. Like Malaya was already asleep when I came into bed. I remember flicking on the light for the kids at 12 at night, or a little bit after 12. So
I mean,
a little bit after.
that statement's not going to be good for Daniel down the road, that Malaya was in bed when he came in at night. I also find it interesting that he checked on the kids at midnight at the time that this sound was heard to be coming and going from the properties, that he went in to check in on them. Did he check in on Melinda? Or yeah. Malaya rather, not Melinda. I'm combining two names. On Malaya, who was asleep and then proceeded to remove the kids at 12 o'clock midnight. That's what I'm thinking.
Midnight, and both of the kids were fast asleep under the covers. So, but I never get a chance to see what clothing they were wearing because the blankets were up on them, right?
Did you see the backpack?
I don't remember the backpack.
But then go back to what we just analyzed or heard the analyzing of that statement, that he knew what they were wearing was made up. So yeah, that's probably true. He didn't get a chance to see what they were wearing, so he made it up. I'm just hypothetical here. Hypothetical. He says he came in at midnight. Malaya was sound asleep, and he went into their room at midnight to check in on them. And yet we hear from midnight to 5 a.m. the neighbors describe cars coming and going. Was Malaya deep in deep sleep? And so he proceeded to do the dirty deeds with other people? Potentially.
The strawberry backpack. But that was always in Lily's room, right?
Okay.
Like that was always in Lily's room. Like she never took it out of there, right? That was her backpack for. It wasn't a school backpack. I know a lot of people think that, but she actually had a pink LOL doll, like for school, and that was her. And the backpack she ended up taking was the one that we bought for when she took to her grandmother's, right? Which would be Cindy Murray.
So when she goes on trips,
No worries,
this was the
Ann.
backpack for trips.
Yeah. She didn't take her school backpack. She took her one that she takes on trips. Trips or overnight trips or to go to visit. She would use that backpack.
There's lots of problems here, so let's go through them one by one. First, remember, Drunk Turkey was asking Daniel about the night the kids disappeared. And what did Daniel do? He gave us a bunch of hedged answers, letting us know that he's not quite sure about when they went to bed, doesn't quite remember, he didn't check the time, which is bad enough. Liars tend to use exclusion qualifiers and hedges because they don't want to get caught in a lie. But what's worse is he's laughing about it and joking with Drunk Turkey. In other words, he's ingratiating himself with Turkey at the expense of looking like a parent who's genuinely wondering, where are my kids? What could have happened? Was there something the night before that I missed? Maybe they weren't actually in the beds. Daniel did something else that manipulators often do. Instead of deep diving into the night before like Drunk Turkey wanted to do, remember, he was asking for a timeline or even reminiscing about the last time he saw Jack alive. Remember, if his story's true, going into the bedroom that night was the last time he saw Jack alive. He latched onto the question about Lily's backpack and went off on a tangent. In other words, he used one of the favorite tactics of bad liars who are getting pressed on something they don't want to talk about, latching onto a minor detail, running with it, and hoping that the interviewer forgets the line of questioning. You might have also noticed that he started answering every question with a question mark. Well, that was always in her room, right? She had it, right? That's yet another way that insecure liars protect themselves from getting caught in a lie, because if someone points out the discrepancy, they can always just say, well, I was wondering it. I wasn't saying it as a fact.
What's the layout of the house look like? So
the layout of the house is we have the bedroom at the very end.
Okay.
And then we have Lily and Jack's room and my other kid's bedroom and the bathroom and the kitchen and the living room.
Okay.
So
how many bedrooms is that?
3 bedroom.
3 bedrooms. And I know some people have asked, like, Lily and Jack, they shared a bedroom. Was there a reason why one wasn't in one room and one wasn't in the other?
Well, my other kids are in the other bedroom. I mean, it really didn't matter if but I know my daughter Rain and Arlo, they like to be in the same bedroom and they like to play together, right?
Yeah.
So, and it was a lot different for my other 2 kids, not having like any other kids involved like with me and being a family before this, right? So it was kind of new to them. It was kind of new to Lily and Jack as well, especially with the new baby coming in too. So it was a little bit different for everybody.
And so your other children, they weren't there that night, correct?
No, they weren't. They were there the weekend prior.
So relative to where Jack and Lily's bedroom is to where you guys sleep, how close is that? Is that
it's actually the next bedroom. It's actually the next bedroom over.
And you guys mentioned that you guys could hear them throughout the morning. Is that correct?
Yes, I actually did hear. I know when it says in the documents that we heard them in the next room over, like in their bedroom. I didn't hear them in their bedroom. I heard when Lily would pop in, I heard Jack in the kitchen.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I heard him rustling around in the kitchen, right? And but then when me and Malaya made our way out to the kitchen, there was nothing moved. The chairs were still perfectly in place. There was no chairs pulled up against the counter for them to, they usually would jump up and take food if they wanted, because kids always do that, right? They would go into the fridge. They would go into the other pantry and grab food if they wanted. Like, they had unlimited food if they wanted to grab it.
Which is the
and they would go into the fridge, take yogurt cups and eat them, or cereal or whatever. So, but nothing was moved, Daniel. Nothing was moved.
Now they're being loud-ish. I mean, loud enough for you guys to hear them. Your other daughter.
Which other case are you referring to? That they're interesting that there are rumors that the people around Jack and Lily case are also friends with the father of another missing kid. Are you talking about Dylan Ethler? You talking about Dylan Ethler? Yeah, I thought so too, Trees. I thought so too. Yeah, okay, Tom, that's what I thought. We're gonna cover Dylan Ethler here on Sunday. We're doing tomorrow. I'm doing a trafficking ring special tomorrow morning, and we're doing Dylan Ethler on Sunday night to compare the two cases. So very interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Malaya said she put the kids to bed in their clothes. Daniel posted that he found those clothes, so M is lying, but Dee saw that they were wearing on Thursday as well, both lying. Yeah, I mean, this case is wild with the inconsistencies in the stories. I have to say, truthfully, my memory's not great. And in a panic, I might not say things that I would later go, oh, that's right. No, that's wrong. But I don't know. I mean, there's just too many inconsistencies here, right?
She was there though, right?
Yeah, she was actually laying beside me with Malaya.
Did you guys ever, or did Malaya ever tell the kids to be quiet? Were they ever waking up Meadow at any point with their noise?
In that morning, no. But when Lily poked in, I did go, shh. Like, when she would come in the room, because she always woke up Meadow. Same with Jack, but I mean, that's what kids do too, right?
Yeah. And so, some folks are saying that, they may have walked out the back sliding glass door. That seems like the only logical explanation for them to have exited the house. You had something on the front door, correct?
Yeah, on the front porch, there's the front porch door, and then there's the inner door on the front. And I know for 100% they did not go out through that door. So, because when I went and got the keys and tried to come back into the house, couldn't get into the front door, right? I had to go around from the back. And then I went out through the front door.
Gotcha.
So that's how I know they did not exit through the front. They exited out through the back sliding glass door.
Remember, Jack Sullivan was 4 years old. We're being told he climbed around the kitchen unsupervised, climbed up onto counters, and fed himself. These are all telltale signs of neglect. We're also being asked to believe that this property, which we got a tour of in my video, It's Painfully Obvious, I'll link that on the end card, was pristine unless a kid moved something. It might be the most implausible thing Daniel said so far in this interview. There's still plenty more bombshells coming up from what I've seen, so if you want to continue this analysis, let me know by like.
Oh, y'all. So I'm gonna keep playing around with the times here. Like, it seems like 2:00, which is now. We got more of you now than we were on, than we had on when we started 3 hours ago. But tomorrow morning, I'm definitely going at 11 a.m. because we have and Sunday it'll be evening, later Sunday, not in the morning, afternoon, because we're doing gingerbread making houses with all the kids tomorrow. But on a totally different, unrelated note, I have Summer Wells is coming to me, and she's come to me more than once now. And this case is a mess and sad. Yeah, it sure is. GE always tries to get more details than needed. Yeah, exactly. I don't know why Summer Wells is coming in towards me, but she is. She's coming in, and I have no idea. I only covered that case briefly because I think I did 2 readings on it because it was so clear, just without knowing really a lot of facts about the case. But she's coming in to talk to me more than once now, and so I don't really know what that means, because they were investigating the property over a week ago now. We haven't heard anything, no updates from that, whether they found anything or not. Janie is friends with Dylan Ether's grandma. No way. Janie is friends with Dylan Ether's grandmom. No. Because Dylan Ether's grandmom was the one that was babysitting him when he disappeared. Well, we also hear that Sebastian knows Summer Wells's parents, right? That Dawn and Candace may know KP and CP. That is just wild. Yeah, so how do these people end up with the same problems and know each other? Do they connect after the cases because of the commonalities from grieving parents, missing children, or family members? Or did they know each other prior to that, right? Like that is wild. Okay, everybody, I'm going to call it now because I'm going to go for a walk and I'm going to be doing some reading, writing rather, for my book series because I've got to launch. I'm launching free chapters December 17th. So time's getting really critical here for me. So I'm getting into that now. Yeah, it could be, Krista. It could be a little bit of that. So tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. live, we're going to do sex trafficking ring studies. And boy, oh boy, is it ever concerning. Dozens of cases to both. There are dozens of connected Dylan and Jack and Lily's case. Are there? So you think it's more of a trafficking ring, Tom? You think it's more of a trafficking ring? Listen, like I said, we're going to find out just how bad trafficking is in Canada tomorrow morning. So yeah. Wow. That's not good. That's not good. You know, I heard this at the very beginning, and I don't know how true it is. Let me know if you heard this, okay? Because I don't follow, like when I'm doing a case from a psychic's point of view, I don't want to really get too many of the details, but I heard this at the beginning. How do people like this find each other? It's too weird. Yes. Well, I mean, after the case, I could see, after the fact, I could see, you're a group of small people that, have some tragedy happen and hit you. I could see for emotional support after the fact. But if they knew each other before the case, that's a whole different issue, right? But what did I want to ask you? I had a question I was going to ask you. Now I forget. Oh, yeah. Did you hear the storyline that somebody said Malaya left a note on the cars of the kids that they were taken in saying, I love you, I will miss you? Like that Malaya wrote the kids a note as they were being taken away to leave with them. Did anybody else hear this? Did I make that up? Did I have a dream about that? Some people from Puerto Pique were 100% linked to human trafficking ring. Yeah, okay. Interesting. Interesting. You didn't hear that? You didn't hear that? Did anybody else hear that? Okay, well, you know me, I get dreams and stuff. That might have been a dream, but yeah, it's kind of like the only thing I could equate it to is I know I heard it from KP about Sebastian, and I don't know if it was a download that I heard when she was talking in an interview that I heard, but I know 1000% I heard KP say, but we tried this, like there was a plan that they had tried multiple times. Like I heard that. Yeah, you never heard that? Okay. Left that message on a mirror to Daniel. Oh. No way. Oh, Tom, hey, if you ever want to email me and come up and talk about this, you're welcome to come up with me and we can talk about this. Tomorrow I'll be on doing the whole trafficking thing. And if you want to come on, you're welcome to. I'm going to start at 11 a.m. tomorrow because I do have the 2:00 family thing we're doing. And it may be a 2-part series because there's literally that much about it. Like it's unbelievable. But yeah, so okay. So Lois, you did hear something about this note at the beginning, right? Because that is interesting if that's the case. Now, yeah. Okay, everybody, there's 85 of you in here. I'm going to consider the 2 p.m. time slot. Yeah, these cases, absolutely. But Do all the YouTube things on the way. Yes, you thought that was odd. Okay. Yeah. I don't know, man. The whole case is odd. Okay, everybody, do all the YouTube things. I'm going to head out now, but I will see you tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. and then Sunday afternoon. Please leave a like where we discuss Dylan Ethler and Jack and Lily's connection, and tomorrow the trafficking as other cases connect to this one. Oh, wild, Tom. Yeah. There's definitely a problem in the trafficking rings. There's definitely things going on with the missing kids cases in Canada and the United States, and it's got to be brought to light. You know, it's got to be got to light. Thank you, honey. Thank you, sweetie. That 3 hours just went like poof. So yeah, we'll see everybody tomorrow, and be good, be well, be safe. Be well, be safe. Thank you, Krista, sweetie. Everybody, thank you, all the mods. Thanks all the mods that came in, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. Love and light.